Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Hey, yo. Hey, Shuffleton. Move this stuff on my desk. Okay, there we go. So Adam is going to get through any, I don't know, like super important issues from the backlog so that he can do another marketing push tomorrow. There will not be a stream tomorrow. Yeah. Hey, Cuddlefish. So it's Monday. I did a bunch of stuff over the weekend. Let's start with tenants for right now. But the stuff over the weekend, I worked on performance things again because I thought, man, if people are going to be playing this and like streaming it to their audiences, I don't want the videos to look choppy or something. So I did a lot of work. I don't think it had a massive impact. The Steam Deck still can't run at 60 FPS consistently. The best FPS it can run at is 40 FPS. Or if you just leave it sitting there, I mean, it can pretty much run at 60 FPS. But I think there are still some areas where we're allocating too much and the garbage collector is running. And yeah, I think this is kind of a problem. But I don't know. It's probably good enough. And we should probably just move on. And I can keep working on this stuff in the after time. So sustainability, I've been working a whole lot. I haven't really taken a full day off in a while. This isn't sustainable, but I don't plan to do this after the game launches. And we have 22 days left. Breaks, this has been going better than ever, especially when I know that I'm going to stream longer than normal. Grit, I've got it. All right. Howdy, Flare. You don't have to be sustainable if the game is close to release. Well, I do think that on one hand, yeah, I can push a little bit harder. I don't like the idea of crunch time, but I also really want this game to be successful. It's always kind of interesting to think about procrastination in general. I don't think I was procrastinating on this game. But like, let's say, you know, you have a year to do something. You aren't going to be working as hard in like month number 3 as you are in month number 11. But what would get you to work as hard in month number 3? Because I guess if you think about it this way, like month 11 will probably be harder or more work. So it's not how do we slow down month 11. It's probably how do we increase month 3 or how do we rescope the game? I think this is just a really difficult thing. If you're working on timelines of a year or longer, it's tough. If I said, hey, you have an hour to do something, it's probably a little bit easier to figure out like, okay, here's what's possible, here's what's not possible. But people don't plan hour by hour. They plan like days or weeks or sprints or months. Hey, Blob. It's been a solid 144 FPS on my Legion Go. Wait, really? Interesting. Yeah, interesting. I wonder, yeah, I wonder how much I've been helping with these other changes. I want to show off a commit that I did just yesterday. I had an idea. So let me show this in the game context. And then we'll get to work at some point. But I want to show this off because this is pretty nice. So in Skeleseller, we have a warehouse. And we had a vault for a little while. So let's say I just go to continue game here. So there's the warehouse. And the vault used to be like 9 spaces over here that you could use, but the workers couldn't use. So this is just a set of item displays. The vault was a set of item displays. And when it came to making the key storage, I was like, huh, that's just another set of item displays. So let's make it inherit from storeroom. Shops do not work that way. Shops have all the same stuff coded again. And it wasn't until yesterday that I thought we got to change this. So what I did is I made it so that shops all have a storeroom. And all the performance improvements I made for storerooms now, shops got automatically. So this further reduced allocations even more. And yeah, it looks nice. I guess I don't need to show the commit. It's not going to be as interesting as what I just said. I'm home sick. I hope you feel better. Most likely lurking or even sleeping. No, I understand. Also, I have 100% faith in you to fix whatever needs to be fixed. Can't wait for another collab with Kit. Yeah. I I got to give him another call soon. Not about collaboration, just to catch up, but I did want to ask him about that too. What would get you to work hard? External pressures creating misery. I don't think they need to create misery, but yeah, I think some sort of external pressure. And this is actually why I think the checkpoint system was a really good idea, because it gave me like 6 deadlines over the course of the project. And each time I felt like, here are the broad strokes we should do to get the game ready. So I think this was nice. And I probably want to do that again. Hey, Alex. Yeah, it was a pretty important refactor. So now I have a bunch of things from yesterday. Oh, I also took some screenshots here. Okay, so I'm going to go through these pretty quickly, and then we're going to delete them. And let me make sure I'm not covering them so much. So let me put them to like here. So here's a screenshot I took at the beginning of Saturday. This was 11 a.m. And you can see this thing is taking up 3 megabytes. This is taking up 2 megabytes. This is taking up 1 megabyte. This is 45 seconds of running the same save file. Then what I did is I made a change. So see this one that is enumerable where list iterator. Then in the next one, it's not there anymore. So like we got rid of the top 2 apparently. So we got rid of like 5 megabytes of allocations over 45 seconds. And then I just kept doing this and doing this and doing this and doing this and doing this. And by the time we get down to here, you can see the top thing is now 882 kilobytes. So it's like all the stuff that was above here is gone. And then some of the stuff down below the list was easy to get rid of as well. So I got rid of those things. And then I stopped taking pictures. It's not that I stopped improving it. So I'm going to just delete all these. But yeah, some of this stuff was pretty intense. Like we call this function get haste multiplier. We call this very frequently. And these effects change so often that I think we should still iterate over them. But now we're doing it in a much better way. We used to be like allocating a function every time, doing link every time. It was intense. Hey, Willem. You get the external checkpoints from conventions? Yeah. Hey, Giganzo. So these are some things I still want to do at some point, but I don't think they're worth doing now. And then there's one tiny issue on the Steam Deck, man, this kind of sucks. So if you look at this issue here, you can see this logo showing up at different sizes. On the Steam Deck, the Skelesaur logo, instead of being centered on the screen, is like cut off and down at the bottom left. And it looks really unprofessional. But I think it's an engine bug, because all I did is change the renderer and then it started happening. Using link in process is a code smell. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. The tough thing is that I think link is much faster to write as a developer, and it's faster to read, at least in my opinion. And if it weren't a game, it would probably just be fine. So I think the thing is you need to be like, well, in the context of a game, it doesn't matter how fast it is to write as a developer unless you're prototyping. Maybe for the prototype, you could be like, yeah, just spew link everywhere. Who cares? Your allocations aren't going to matter. And it's true. It probably won't matter. If you're just trying to see, is the game going to be fun? Unless it's running at like 10 FPS, then you're probably fine. So yeah, I want to keep this stuff in mind for my next game for sure. Oh man, we still have like Friday stuff on here too. Oh boy. Yeah. Game is very light. Implement everything with ease of use as a priority. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's fine as long as like a large enough percent of your players don't go run into a problem. So let's say you knew you were going to run on the Nintendo Switch. It's like, well, everyone on the Nintendo Switch is running at the same CPU speed, unless they're on an emulator or something. So it's like, if that's all you're targeting, like 99.9% of your users, if they have a problem, all of them will have a problem. So there it's like, okay, well, that's a different constraint. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever switch to using Rust for game dev. I actually kind of want to see, my sort of naive take is Rust is bad for game dev because, what was I going to say here? The dev time is higher and most games don't get completed anyway. That's my naive take on this. It's like, you will probably write a more performant game. It'll probably be easier to maintain after you've written it, but most games aren't going to get written and not many people are using Rust for games. So it's not a good idea to choose Rust for games. It's kind of it. 100 streams, my goodness, Xyletics. By the way, Xyletics, as long as you're showing off, can I ask you a question? Can you test on your Linux machine some point this week with a controller. There was an issue a while ago where it wasn't working, and I think you reported that issue, and I'm pretty sure I fixed it. All it would take for you to test this is just open the game and move the virtual cursor on the title screen, and I guess click any button. If this works, then we're good. So it's a very, very quick test, and it doesn't need to be anytime soon. Just I want to make sure this actually got fixed. All right, I should file all this stuff. Maybe I'll do that this evening. Well, actually, tomorrow's not going to be, yeah. I'll just say, take the day to market to people, reach out to all remaining influencers. So I guess finish the Weblate stuff. Maybe I shouldn't publish today. Yeah, then release new versions. Yeah. Yeah. Where did your wish list come from before you released the demo, and how were the numbers looking back then? The demo was February of 2025. Yeah. So you can see here's everything before the demo. The demo was probably that day, if I had to guess. February 5th or something. Let me take a look. February 2nd. Okay, yeah. So right before this uptick. So before then, like the top day of getting wish list, 26, 24, 29, 23, and then the very first day the Steam page launched, 45. These are all very likely just coming from the stream. Yeah. And probably some small amount of like natural Steam traffic to a page with no demo. But yeah, I don't think I posted it anywhere else. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Colbert. I feel much better now. Thank you. Yeah. And then since then, I wouldn't say things have like picked up drastically outside of known events. So again, that was YouTubers covering it. That was me being on the front page. That was Next Fest starting thereabouts. This is my TikTok marketing that I had done and YouTube stuff. I don't know what all the stuff leading up to that was. I think Idle Cub's video just got more views for some reason. In fact, actually something I should try to find out. I wonder if I can search for this. Idle Cub Skeleseller site. YouTube.com. I wonder if he linked it from another video. No, I don't think so. Okay, I was just curious. And then the last thing I'll check, and then we'll just get to work here, is where do we rank on the popular upcoming games? Because I want us to be in the top 50 at some point, but I think it's going to take another couple weeks for that. Where's Skeleseller? There it is. Skeleseller. We're currently at 123. Does not work since it's 9.29, but demo's working fine. Oh yeah, I don't even remember the last time I published a playtest version. Okay, thank you for testing that, Xyletics. Cool. So we are fixed with that. I'm glad, because that was very frustrating. Man, there's still something that... Let me write this down. Where is this? Yeah, here. There's still something that's been bugging me a little bit, which is, what if I were using Forward Plus specific features? Because there's a reason why I can't use it anymore, right? They eventually get fixed. Oh yeah, right. The camera just basically won't work. Oh man. If these things get fixed, this Godot issue. Yeah, major frame rate drop on Windows and moving mouse in very simple project. So I looked at this on Mac and I couldn't exactly figure this out, but it might have to do with the mouse pulling rate. So this is an actual like hardware thing. Your mouse has a sensor at the bottom, and every so many times per second, it'll send a signal to the computer, and then the computer will do something with it, right? It'll move the mouse. Well, I guess just moving the mouse because it's just the sensor. In Godot, that high pulling rate leads to more stuff going on, which is what I think is causing that jitter for me. But my mouse is set to 1,000 hertz. Like Kevin tried this, and he said when he has his mouse set to 4,000 hertz, that yeah, it causes a noticeable slowdown on Windows. But 1,000 hertz on Mac does not sound crazy to me. And I tried lowering it; it didn't really seem to make a difference. So I just switched renderers. But yeah, what if I couldn't switch renderers? What if I needed some feature here? I guess just too bad. Hey, Goose, hey, Bedro. Kind of having a panic attack about why I'm even making this game. No one's going to play it. But I guess how would people even find it without a demo? Well, I think there are a bunch of different ways they'd find it. There's normal marketing. You know, one of the really basic principles of marketing is something like put up an ad for a product that doesn't exist. How many people click it? Like, that's your interest level. So in a sense, that's kind of what a Steam page is without a demo. It's kind of like an ad for a game that you can't actually play yet. And then I think you can spread that Steam page, and based on the trailer, based on the hook of the game, people might be like, oh yeah, that's really cool. I think if I were you marketing your game, I'd probably go from the like cutesy, non-traditional card game aspect. And I'd probably focus on like what even are battles in the game. And yeah, I think that's what would probably appeal to players, and that's what kind of sets the game apart. And if that can generate interest, then you might get more wish lists from that, I guess. That mouse thing should happen on most engines. Well, so the engine can address it by changing something. There's a PR here somewhere. Yeah, this PR. So here's fixed performance issues when moving the mouse with a high polling rate on Windows. So I didn't really look through this too closely. It's all engine code, but they did something to address this. Unity and Unreal probably also have the same sort of fix for every platform. Because otherwise, yeah, what are you? You can't just have it slow down. What is that? That I probably shouldn't have clicked. What is that? Oh, okay. Hey, Dominic. Hey, Sunset. Not really an early stream, no. What are you doing with all your free time lately? It makes your whole PC lag. Yeah, I didn't realize that was even a thing that happened. Kind of makes me wonder what FPSs do. Okay, I want to just cut some things out of this list. So let's go test this. This is a non-breaking hyphen. So we have to search French for that. How do we even do that? I gotta find a hyphen. I guess we could type, well, I guess we could type this. How many strings are there? Oh, only 2. Okay, that should be pretty easy then. It's probably that one. In fact, it's got to be that one. Oh, wait, no, it can be either one of these. All right, so all I need to do is type this into here, close all tabs, and then make a label, and then type this. Wait, that's still super high up, right? Hang on one second. Let me check something. Hideo said, unrelated, I even checked if the character is correct on Weblate, but the soft hyphen renders way too high on the y-axis and probably too wide. Makes it more difficult to read the sentence. Okay, so if I type this as oh, that's not a regular hyphen. Oh, wait a second. Oh my God. Is this wrong? Something's wrong here. This is not a soft hyphen, is it? Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to see it. Hang on, maybe he's just talking about the hyphen? Yes, he's talking about the hyphen. I'm not going to do anything about this right now. Yeah. Just respond. I don't know. I don't need, Hideo said I don't need to respond to him. But yeah, I'm going to just delete this, I guess. Hey, who cares? Hey, Sound of Gaming. I was swapping out all of his character art with like a week left. I was like, oh boy. Level of detail you're putting in this project. Well, that was Hideo's suggestion to take a look at the hyphens. I actually don't know how it looks in English to me. I don't think it's a problem. Where do we have a hyphen in English? In Skeleseller, of course. So I just search for weblate dash. Yeah, this, for example. Does this look weird to me? Wait a second, that's a different hyphen. Wait a second. These are not the same hyphen, are they? No, they are not. And if I put this one over here, all right, maybe I should respond to Hideo about this then. I'll just write this down at some point. Respond to Hideo about the hyphens. He used a different one from me. So this. Oh, I'll just take a picture of this. The y coordinate seems to be the same, but it's thinner. It's not the non-breaking thing. This is just a regular hyphen. Well, actually, I think it's a difference between an en dash and a something else. I don't know what. One's probably the minus symbol versus sentence hyphens. Yeah. No, he's not working on Skeleteller other than the French translation. He did the whole French translation. Yeah, I'll just paste this in here. I'm not gonna look at this for too much longer. Hey Dead. Hey Lava Cake. There's another version of that too. Yeah, the EM dash. I don't think that's an EM dash though. In fact, I can write this again with an EM dash. No, that's super long. Yeah, that would look a little crazy. So all of these are at the same y coordinate, it looks like, but obviously the widths differ. And Hideo said that the y coordinate is kind of high. So, I mean, lowering that's pretty easy to do if we wanted to, but I want to ask him about it because at least the guy in the video that I watched, he was a native French speaker. He didn't have a problem reading anything. So it might look a little unusual, but it's probably not high priority to fix. Anyway, what else do we have on this list that I definitely want to get through? This is not a problem. Oh man, this is something I kind of want to show this off. Blub reported an issue. Look at this. Where if you click fast enough, so let's start at the beginning. You can swap adventures between this side and this side. And if you click fast enough, it would duplicate them. So you see how now we have 2 mages and Blub keeps doing this. And now we have 4 mages. Yeah, I found out where that's coming from and I fixed that. I wrote that down over here, I think, somewhere. Where did I write this down? Oh yeah, here. And then I filed an issue in Godot. Huh, I never wrote down the issue that I filed. I should put that in my notes. Did they respond to this? Might depend a lot on the order in which engine events are processed. Yeah. I don't actually expect that this is an issue. Filed an issue on this just to bring it to the attention of the Godot developers. There we go. Hey, Sub-Zero. Really is amazing. That's magic. Yeah, it was a race condition. So what was happening was I was calling queue free on the like original adventure and then adding them to the other side. The problem is queue free does not work immediately. It works on the next frame. And apparently you can still click them during that time. So it's trivially easy to fix. So I fixed it, but I didn't know it was even possible. And then it caused me to look through the whole code base and see, is there anywhere else this is possible? And there were some issues a while ago where people got multiple adventures. I wonder if it was that, because this bug probably would have existed for like the entirety of the time the demo was out. So who knows? But it was very apparent to Blub because I think it's much easier on a touch screen to accidentally send like 4 different events at once. Hey, no, Joel, is it a custom font? Yes, it is. Hey, TJ. Okay, so is there anything else we have here? I don't think so. I did this. I mean, this is all like afternoon stuff at this point, right? All right. Now, I found some new bugs. I remember one of these being annoying. Yeah, this isn't too bad, actually. The Hire Adventurer button turns green in story mode when you have enough for the next adventurer, but they're not available. Yeah, this should be pretty simple to fix. Hire Adventurers. Where do we change the modulate? Right there. So yeah, all we do is check if money is greater than cost. We can't do that. We need to make sure that you can actually hire one. So who does that? I won't have more adventures. This one. Classes to offer .count. And we get classes to offer based on the town. I don't believe this is the most performant function. No, it is not. So we don't want to do this every single time. Wait a second. What is this code right here? Why don't we just add... Oh, we made this a read-only list? Wow, it's kind of silly. This should have been just a list that then we append to. But I'd like this to return without allocating if possible. In which case we need to cache the result of this. And it's based on what? Just how many elites you've beaten? Yeah. Being harsh to itself. Yeah, it's a little harsh. And I don't think I realized that converting from a list to a read-only list is just an interface change. So this could have been a list the whole time. I mean, to make this code slightly simpler, it would just look like this at that point. But this is still a problem. Oops, I shouldn't say add range. And now can convert from an adventurer class array to an adventurer class. I don't know what I'm missing here, but I don't really care because this function isn't a big deal. I want to see where we'd cache this. This is the only place we call this function, right? Yeah. No, wait, we call it in 3 spots. Town menu, update adventurers button visibility. Oh, we call this frequently? On complete tutorial, updated. Oh, hey, there's a thing for this. Updated adventurers available for hire. Where's that called from? When you beat an elite, I'm guessing? Yep, there and there. Yep, cool. Okay, okay. So this is probably fine. So we already have a signal for this. We need to listen over here for the signal. But it's also whenever you change money. And it doesn't print out. It doesn't have a Boolean of like, do you have adventurers available for hire? We should probably have this thing calculate that too, right? Oh, it's whoever's listening for this. Only one thing's listening to it here. But many things are calling this, right? Windy, 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 windy. Thank you, Windy. Have a Windy command. But I'll also give Windy a shout out. Wait, what's going on? There we go. Yeah, I hope the rest of the stream went well. I was kind of just lurking in the morning. Then I did my normal morning routine. Hey, doctor. Yeah, so welcome in, everyone. We are very close to launching Skeleseller, and I've been working on just any kind of last-minute things. A lot of it's been performance-related. We've gotten the perf a lot better in the game. Now we're going to just work on whatever happens. Hey, Corpsey, and hey, Darth. Best C# programmer on Twitch. I can't argue with that. I can't believe how much of a professional Windy has become with a single tear in my eye. Hey, Tobor, how you doing? And hey, GLFA. Gotta love some good garbage collection. Gotta love it. So now I'm trying to figure out what should cache this, if anything. All right, let's write down all the places this happens. We would need to cache this since it allocates, and I don't want to call that every single time your money changes. So what's calling it right now is update adventurer button visibility in the town menu, which is when you complete the tutorial, when you load, and when you beat an elite. Town menu.this. This is when you beat the tutorial, when you load a game, and when you beat a new elite enemy. Wendy, how's your general stress level been? Have you been working a lot? Hope you're... I know you said you were painting walls at one point. I hope that was relaxing and a nice break from being at a computer all the time. All right, where else do we do this? So town menu, hire adventurer in 2 places. Get dialogue data. This is when you actually click the guild master. And then this is also when you click the guild master. Yeah. Twice from the guild master when you click them to show the dialogue containing the adventurers. Took a week off to paint a load of my house. Very nice change of pace. Yeah. Man, I really think in kind of any tech adjacent job, at least in the US, people need more vacation than they're taking. In other countries, a lot of times, if you're at a company, an established company, you've got some set amount of vacation time, which is better than the US. But if you're working for yourself, then you always determine it for yourself. So, yeah, I mean, myself included, I should probably take more time off. I plan on it after Skeleseller is launched. It all depends on how well it does too. So who would cache this now? I mean, it could really go anywhere. It's just got to be somewhere accessible. We could even put a static thing in here, although then it never goes out of scope. But eventually, next classes to offer would be an empty list. Yeah. Or I just cache it in here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just do that. Private, static, I read only list, adventurer class. Cached available adventurer classes. Okay. So this is stupid. I'm just going to put it in the town. I think this is still kind of dumb. I don't like it. But yeah, I don't really think it belongs here. All right, there we go. So this is a get private set. I'm already spending too long on this. Sure. All right, so this happens in a bunch of different places. We have get classes to offer coming from town menu, get classes to offer. Get next classes offer. And where's the other place? So we don't do this at load time. And we should. And it's based on how many things you've defeated, but it's got to come before the town menu. So where do we load the instance map? Yeah, I think it's in here. No, it's not. It's somewhere. Ah, there it is. Battle panel. This is what presumably loads in how many enemies you defeated. Yeah. So after we've done this, we can load this in. We could just say cache available adventure classes. I must depart. Take care, Wendy. Thanks again for the raid. Hey, Ramy. All right, this is just going to call this function, adventure functions. Cool. Now, what's the problem here? The name does not exist. Oh yeah, I meant to capitalize that. All right, now this will be done anytime you beat an elite. I don't think it's gonna stick. Yeah, we need the usual wowie. So we cache this, then we invoke this. And this has to happen at all the right times now, which is whenever you add an adventurer and whenever you defeat an elite. Where's that happen? Here. Oh, there's update available adventurers for hire. Interesting. Isn't this wrong, though? There might be a reason why I did this, and it might be not great. No, I don't know about that. Yeah. So let's put this here. All right. We're getting through this. Hey, Mohit Kumar. Happy Monday. Hope your Monday's been going well. Farther along in it than I am. And hey, Chulo. Okay. So town menu now, whenever we do this, update the affordability of this. This also needs to make sure that there are adventurers for hire. Has adventurers for hire equals town.cached adventurers.count is greater than 0. So we do the money's greater than cost and you have adventurers available for hire. That's it. Now we got to go change some other things that try calling this function for no reason. Update adventurer button visibility. Where do we use this? We literally just check to see if you have adventurers. Okay. Is available. It's just that you have these for hire. Okay, that looks a lot nicer. Now what? Now in get dialogue data, this does not have access to, oh, it does have access to a town. Where'd that come from? Oh, it's right there. Wow. Okay, so we get this from the town. In fact, actually, if we're going to do this, shouldn't this check? I don't care. I think this is kind of weird, though. I'm just directly accessing this. I don't think I like that. And if we're not going to use this again, then we are going to use this. Why do we do this? Make this selection for the first time. Okay. That feels like a flex for me. I'm going 0 kilometers per hour right now relative to the Earth. Hey, Matt. Matt, so I've been talking about this mouse with you, the SwiftPoint Z3. It's available for purchase tomorrow. And they did something kind of not exactly scummy, but they said the first 1,000 people to order get like minus $65 off their price. Then the next 3,000 people get minus $55. And then everyone after that gets minus $45, something like that. They haven't released the details about the actual product. So like noon tomorrow, Eastern time, orders open, but then you have to evaluate, do you even want to buy this, I guess? They have a money back guarantee, so I'm probably just going to get it. But I'm a little bit torn on this. I got to probably put a little bit of thought into how would I use this thing, because I would be giving up my tons of side buttons here, and I don't know what would be convenient. Like you can only have so many hold this button, press this other button, or double press that button. And maybe it's better to just get the MMO mouse, the MMO7. I'll actually write this down for the evening. Think about how I would use the Z3. It may be worth trying anyway. They have a money back guarantee. Yeah, I'm torn. Hey, Franken. All right, so I think we've got this working, and just this part looks a little bit stupid. I mean, this doesn't really have to be cached. It could just be available adventurer classes. Yeah. And then just say we cache this. It doesn't matter. Here's why I quit using it after dealing with weird purchase, semi-scummy feeling process. No, I don't really mind that. Like I said, it's not really scummy. I think the only potentially scummy bit is that you can't evaluate ahead of time if you want this thing. So you're inclined to just place your order, and then once you've placed it, the friction to cancel it is probably higher than just letting it arrive and seeing if you like it. I'll monitor the situation as well. Yeah. Hey, IPO, how's C#? It's not as bad now that I've come to terms with everything. I think I would probably use it again for my next game. I don't get why they don't release details. So here's my assumption from everything I've read online. It sounds like all they're really doing is making it wireless and making the grip better on the mouse so it doesn't like slide out of your fingers. And that's it. So they probably didn't want to have a sort of, I don't know, like mild reception of that. All right, how do we do this? We go make a new game. And there's something that checks. I don't know. Let's just click this. Okay, so this is a problem. There, you can't complete the tutorial now because there's a hire button with no one there. This is because when you start the game, we need to cache the adventures that are available. I think that should work. Hey, Luma. How do you find the streaming from Mac experience? It's pretty much the same as streaming from Windows. Yeah. I streamed on Windows for a whole bunch of years before switching to a Mac. So if you've ever streamed before, I don't think it'd be any different. In fact, I'm using the same software. I'm still using OBS. Interesting to see if I end up going for it too. When does it ship? I don't know. All I know is that you can place the order tomorrow. It might be like months from now. It might be that they just send it to you. I'm not totally sure how it works. When do they start development? Didn't see it mentioned on the FAQ. Love to see you working on your own game. I've got the whole timeline and a whole bunch of extra details there or in my journal. But the GitHub repo was April 17th, 2024. So it's been almost 2 years since I started the GitHub repo. All right, I'm glad we're testing this through the tutorial, although I probably should be doing a lot more tests on the entire game. Okay, so let's do this. We should now be able to get 2 adventures. Good. So I'm going to click this and then click the guild master. Whoa there, I just found someone for you. Why not send them into battle? Great. Okay, so now we send them into battle. I'm in the demo version of the game, or non-debug version, so I can't speed this up. All right, now what do they say? I think your top priority should be learning how to sell loot at this point. Why not talk to me later? And I'll finish the tutorial. No one's ever going to see that text. All right, we got this. We get this. We can now get another adventure, right? Oh, wait, no, we got to get the potion first. Done. Okay, and now it shows the rogue again. So that means that we're caching them at the wrong time. Hired adventure. I guess add adventure is what did it. This properly adds them, right? What? This doesn't need to be here, I guess. But what is this based on? Town dot select get adventures. This cache needs to be cleared. Where do we clear this? Clear adventure cache. Oh, whoops. Did I write the wrong thing there? This should be here somewhere, right? I guess as soon as we've added them. Adventurers node. Yeah. Do we ever use this anywhere else? Nope. Perfall wrapped up? Not totally, but I did a lot of work on it over the weekend. And I got allocations down even further. This is actually not part of perf. This is part of the town menu has a hire adventurers button, and it was showing green as long as you had enough money for the next adventurer. But you might not have been able to even hire another adventurer because there were none available. That camera smoothing is something I did a little while ago, so it would smoothly go over to the entity. One thing I would like to do at some point, which I don't know if this is going to happen, but like a smooth zoom in and zoom out instead of just going to the next step immediately. I think it'd make the game look better. But I also think it'd be kind of annoying to do. All right, so there we go. We get the potion in, and now we go to hire, and we should just see the mage. Good. If I save and load, we should also just see the mage. Good. Then I can't give myself money here. So let's go and change the feature flags so that this is off. You were adding texture caching. Did that impact the FPS a lot? I was doing a lot of different things. The biggest set of changes that I made was to reduce allocations for things. And a lot of this is like I was using Link. I was just doing things in not the greatest way. And there were a lot of Godot aspects to this too. Like something I still haven't figured out how to get around here is this, which I have a note about looking into it. But every single physics tick, we call this get overlapping bodies. And if you look at this function, it makes a new collection. So like every single physics tick, we're making a new collection of a whole bunch of things that then need to be cleaned up at some point. But this is a Godot API. So the only way I could think to get around this is maybe there's a signal that'll do this for me. That every time there's a new body added, I could check if it's overlapping. And then like stop checking once they're not anymore. In fact, I should probably write this down if I haven't already. Maybe we can stop running this function if no new bodies have been added and there are no longer overlaps. About how much dev do you do off stream, if any? On a normal week, like if you picked 4 months ago, just to name a random time, 4 months ago probably would have been very, very little. But now that we're getting ready for launch, like I probably worked for like 12 hours over the weekend, maybe something like that. That's very abnormal for me though. All right, so we don't have any money, but once I get money, now the hire adventure button is green, as it should be. As soon as I click this, it should go white. No, it should disappear because we don't have any more elites. Then, wait a second, isn't that the problem? Why was it ever visible in the first place? Yeah, why was that visible? Is visible equals has adventures for hire. Strange. Oh, I think I know what the real problem was. Because I never cleared the cache. Yeah, that's what was happening. So this thing about updating money is kind of pointless then, right? Sure, it's happening in constant time, so I guess this is technically fine, but we should just delete this. Yeah. And I'll just write note. The button would have been hidden into... Oh, what just happened there? Would have been hidden entirely if there were no adventurers available for hire. So is this thing even worth doing what I just spent the time doing? Because we fixed the bug. We also made this more performant, but this didn't really need to be more performant. And it kind of made things a little bit less clear what's happening now, huh? Like number of lines added, 10 lines. Hey, Phil V. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. This bug was important to fix, but we could potentially have just taken the cheapo route out of here. Because we only called it in 3 places, right? Here was 1. And I wrote down where that gets called from. You beat the tutorial when you load a game, when you beat a new elite enemy. Yeah, none of these cases it really matters. Yeah, I think this is probably a bad idea. So here's my take. What I did is more performant in like edge cases. And who kind of cares about that? But it complicates the code. I think in this case, it's better to just take the slightly more complicated or slightly simpler code. I'm torn. Yeah, I think this is a dumb way of doing things. Player ability. So can I get into this state? Yeah, I'm going to save, quit, and then stash everything. So now we're working from a clean slate here. Future, you will be thankful for the simplification. Yeah, as long as this isn't in the hot path or anything, I don't think it matters too much. So we should be in the buggy state right now. We should see the higher adventure lit up. It's not lit up. Oh, maybe we need to get money. No. Okay, that's weird. Oh, maybe this only happens when you haven't loaded from a save file. Like if I go beat this, now higher adventure shows up. I hire both of these, and I don't think it's going to go away. Yeah, that's the bug. Okay, so this is a very like slim edge case that we have here. And I think we fix this by just when you add an adventurer, we clear the cache. And then I think we're done. Do you have any expectations or goals? Expectations are pretty hard to figure out at this point because I think a couple things are going to happen. One, I think the game will pick up steam before the launch, and then I think it'll pick up steam after the launch. So the before the launch is probably going to be from Steam showing me on popular upcoming, and the after the launch is going to be from all the marketing stuff that I've been doing. So hopefully some big influencers cover it. We'll see how many of those do that. But yeah, if we just based it on the wish list I have now, I think it would be very poor performance because we're sitting at about 11,000 wish lists, which if we had a 100% conversion rate would be at like roughly the minimum wage point for the game. And no one has a 100% conversion rate unless you have one wish list maybe. So yeah. Anyway, that brings us to the goals. And again, I highly recommend now at this point watching that video that I made because it talks about this toward the end. But in order to make minimum wage, I need to sell like at least 8,500 copies. But that's like just minimum wage for me. And that's without considering any other development that I do. And yeah, there's a lot of other considerations there. So I think realistically, I think 20,000 copies would be the like, okay, this game like did okay, okay to good. But yeah, so more than 20,000 I think would be pretty nice. I don't know how likely that is. I'm not saying, oh yeah, I definitely need this to happen or something, but this is why I kind of talk about like all this work went into this game. And in the end, it's got to sell what sounds like quite a lot of copies for this to have been worthwhile monetarily. All right, so now we hire these and everything should be fine. Yeah, everything is fine. And if I save and load, cool. All right, that's all we need to do to fix this. So let's write that down. That's just line right after add child. Okay, so let's now revert this and then do a get stash pop. And oh, nice, cool. Okay, so there's our clear adventure cache, and we just delete everything else that we had here. Goodbye. Yep. That one's fine. Oh, this was just done too late. It's not even that it wasn't being done. Yeah, we call update adventures available for hire. Yeah, wow. All right. This doesn't matter. Yeah, nothing matters except for that one line of code, I guess. In which case I could have just done this in a smarter way. What was that just doing? I can't Command Z that? Huh. Interesting. Wait, no. Hold on. I probably should look at that because I was on autopilot there. Let me take a look at this. Wait, no. Mute. Go back. Yeah, stop talking about this. Okay, cool. What was this? That one was fine. This part. Yes, this needs to change. Okay, that I need back to the code that we just had. So we'll do that in a second, though. So this isn't needed. And now anything else that use this stuff isn't needed. That note can still be there. That's fine. Yeah, revert this. Hire adventurer. And here. Okay, so we should only have a couple changes, if I'm not mistaken. This one and a clarifying comment. Okay, so fix bug with hire adventurer button. Repro was start a new game, hire, or like beat the canyon, hire all adventurers, and then get enough money to get like more than, I don't know, 300 gold. At this point, the hire adventurer button would be visible. Wait, it's not even, you don't even need to get the gold. The hire adventurer button would stay visible even though there are no new adventurers available for hire. This was because I was clearing the cache at the wrong time. This is, by the way, the like core trade-off of a lot of caching. So you have a perf problem. You're like, oh, caching is the answer when it's the answer. I'm not saying it's always the answer. And then you add the cache, and now you have to manage a cache. So if it's completely, everything's just working great, then cool, you got your performance problem fixed. But if you do something like this, then they have a new problem. Add clarifying comment. And then we got to do from this video what I had here, which is make this be base abilities that aren't being cast until inside of this. So player ability, yeah, here. So this should be base ability. We don't cast. We cast it here to player ability. And that should look exactly like that code. Yep. This is another little performance improvement. Remove extra allocations around casting. Oops. Hey, Showboat. Hey, Tommy. Hey, Kevin. It's all distribution. I show speed. Uploads a 10-second reel and you're there. What is this? Oh, it's a YouTuber. Obviously, get that exposure is nigh on impossible. It's triggers like that can outweigh all efforts combined. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. And I kind of like looking at it through this lens. I've talked about this a bunch on stream before, but when it comes to marketing, it's either use your influence or use others' influence or combination. But when you think about it, it's like, what is your influence in things? And if you're a content creator, you might have some. But honestly, even if you have like 5 million subs on YouTube and people are watching your videos, I still think you should be marketing with other people's influence too. Maybe you can kickstart that process with your own influence, but like, yeah, you still need to reach out to more people. There's that XKCD about how, 10,000 new people per day might be looking at some message on the internet, even though a bunch of people have already heard it. It's like, well, there's a new set of people looking at it. And I think you got to keep that in mind. All right, well, that took a long time. Now, the next one here is, why do swords look weird when in stacks of 3? And is it just swords? Let's just click grant most things and then get item stacking and fill out the warehouse and then call grant items and then save. Actually, whoops, no, I shouldn't have saved. I should have just taken a picture. So these swords look, I think, fine. I like how these look. It's just that obsidian blade. Is that graphic weird? Yeah, this. Why does that look a little bit strange? And maybe it's strange here too. It's a little bit hard to tell. But those swords are just, they're overlapped so weirdly. I don't even think the fire swords look strange. I guess they have more at the bottom left that makes them look more balanced. Because yeah, like these belts and stuff are probably fine. So I'm going to use the term influence instead of reach. I'm not exactly sure what the heart of the question is, but in my mind, they're, I mean, pretty much the same thing. Well, no, I don't think they're the same thing. I think reach is just how many people you can reach with your message, whereas influence would be how many of those people would actually would have their behaviors changed by your message. Yeah, this one. I'll leave this on screen for people for a second who haven't seen this, but I want to go take a look at this. So we want to load up. Oh, weird. Why did that? Huh. Okay, item. No, regular item. This looks like it's fine. 3, -2, and this one is -3, -2. So it's symmetrical. It must just be the graphics themselves. Assets, items, orcs, items. Is there something special about this sword? I don't think so. This is 16 pixels, right? What's going on right now? It says width 15 by 15, but I think it's actually 16 by 16. And I've always taken exception to the width and height measurement here. If we select 1 pixel, yeah, it just doesn't even show width and height. I select this and it says 1 by 1. Why does it do that? Yeah, you need to move this just beyond. So it must be 16 by 16. It is. Hey, Deadeye. Back left sword is hidden too much, and that makes it weird. Seems like a bundle of 2. I don't really understand why it looks that way, though. Do I have a picture of this somewhere? Oh, I took it here. Yeah. I think it's just because swords aren't centered in the graphic. They're centered, I guess, but they're at a diagonal line. So yeah, anything that's mostly a diagonal line graphic, like the weapons, even this looks a little bit strange. Like if we just cut it off here, this looks fine. Also kind of looks like a creature. But for the things that are symmetrical vertically, they look okay. I mean, we could do something a little different with weapons. We could like specifically position them to the left a little bit, but then the fiery swords would look weird because then they'd be even farther to the left. Hey, Krasner. And thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping it's pretty great too. I don't think we do anything about this. I think that's my conclusion. Yeah, I don't think we do anything about this. All right, I'm pretty sure we got rid. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I think we got rid of this already. Yep, we did. If you press UI cancel while holding an item and while a menu is open, it drops the item first. On Steam Deck, this is annoying because the menu covers the whole screen. So it feels like you press the wrong button. Yeah, but UI cancel only does that when you press it on a controller, right? Where even is this? Yeah, here. Is player held item doing this? It is. Yeah, here it is. UI cancel should only drop an item if pressed via the controller. What do I want to do? I don't want this to take... I don't want this to take the input here. So let's just write down what's happening for right now. Player held item dot unhandled input is getting the input first. I didn't look into the rest yet since I need to take a break. It's almost ad time. So in order to make sure that people don't actually get stopped from watching something important while ads are running, I just stopped the important stuff. So let's go take a break really quickly. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hello again. Close the game. Okay. So, yeah, I didn't look in the rest of this. Let's go find out where this is happening. Somewhere. It's the panel tab container. So this is a control with overlay background, which has something on it saying, yeah, background. Wait, no, that's not right. What handles this? Overlay visibility controller? Huh. I don't know what handles this. Something closes this. Dialog box, in-game menu, keybinds, panel tab container. Okay. So if I'm not mistaken, unhandled input is the same order as input, which is the lower it is in the scene tree, nesting notwithstanding. So we gotta go to town scene, maybe? No. Town. Player held item is there. The UI is there. The UI should get it first. Maybe sub viewports confound that. What is this again? Panels tab container? Panels tab container. Yeah, right there. Huh. What am I missing? All right, where's my controller? We're just going to test this. So here's one spot, and here's the other spot. So I need to pick up an item and then open up a thing like this and then press this. Yeah. So player held item gets hit, marks it as handled. Then we press it again. And yeah, this gets hit and closes it. That order is very funky to me. Why is that happening? Godot input handling. They mentioned sub viewports somewhere in here. Sub viewports. Excluded from this process are windows and sub viewports. Yeah, how does that happen? Or doesn't apply, blah, blah, blah. Since viewports don't send events to other sub viewports, one of the following methods has to be used. Use a sub viewport container, which automatically sends events to its sub viewports after input or control GUI input. Implement event propagation based on individual requirements. What? Viewport does so in that order. So it really just comes down to this. The UI doesn't get it first? Huh. Yeah, it does. So very sour. I guess I don't understand that. Yeah, I don't understand that. Does that mean that the sub viewport container here is getting this first before all of them? Well, it's getting all inputs, I guess. All right, so we should put a thing in here saying this. Clicked. I'm just writing clicked. You're not even clicking. Okay, let's try that. So this is getting it first, and I think it makes sense, but I'm not totally sure what we do about this. Alternatively, we could just make it so that the panel container is aware of player held item, which is kind of weird coupling, but at this point, I don't care. All right, so we press the button, and yep, this is getting hit first. Wow, that is not what I would expect. Yeah, that's not what I'd expect. The propagating sub viewport container is getting hit first. Why? After input or control.GUI input. This is unhandled, isn't it? No, it's just propagate input. Oh, I think I see what's out. This is very tricky. Okay, so I think what's going on is we run from bottom to top to get input handled. So I'm handling things from unhandled input. And I think what's going on is the propagating sub viewport container gets the button press in input and then has its own like unhandled input process. So I pretty much just need to handle this in input. Yeah, we just put this like this and everything should be fine. Let's go try that. Yeah, I hope this works. Okay, so if I pick up an item and I should be able to drop it, good. If I open this, I should be able to close it, good. If I pick up an item and open this, I should be able to close this first and then drop it. Yeah. Whew. Okay. I think it's all working. Yeah. So here's why this was a problem for me. When you're playing on the Steam Deck, your screen looks more like this. Where, well, anyway, imagine that there weren't these blank spaces on the side. So all you can see here is the main screen. So when you press the close button, it should close that screen. But instead what was happening is it was dropping the item that you were holding. I think you can drop, no, you can't. Okay, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, so this is a nice little usability thing for small screens. Now, granted, even if you're on a large screen and you can see that in the background right over here, you probably still don't want this button to just drop the item. Probably want to close the menu first. Imagine doing all that solo. Oh, yeah, definitely. No, I think I have benefited quite a lot from streaming, which is why I'm streaming. It sounds selfish, but it's not really. Like, it's not like I was reaching some huge community or something before this, and people are like, you should do this out of the goodness of your heart or something like that. It's like, I'm trying to be productive, and I've determined that this is more beneficial in the long run to be streaming than it is to just do this solo. All right, this fixed everything. And we don't need to worry about this. And yeah, that's that. Nice. Just using us for free work. Hey, Soxton, don't tell everybody. All right, so fix bug with pressing UI cancel. So repro has to be from a controller. Pick up an item, open panels tab container. Oh, could this happen in, I think there's another potential repro for this. I'm not positive though, but I wonder if it's any different if we do this in bone mode rather than story mode. It probably won't be. Thankfully, it's very easy to test. We just pick up an item, then we open the menu, then we close. Yeah, nice. All right, so open panels tab container, and then press UI cancel on the controller. At this point, it would have dropped the item, which is not what the player would expect, especially if the player was on a small screen, such that the menu was now covering everything in view. It would feel like the UI cancel button did nothing since you couldn't see the held item anymore. I hit this while accidentally opening a menu on my Steam Deck and wanted to fix it. Okay, great. Yeah, so we've made a couple of changes in the last week that are little things that if people get in this situation, I think it's just pretty nice. So again, this one is what you just saw. I'm holding an item, I open a menu, I close the menu, it does not drop the item. Another one that I did pretty recently was, hang on, sorry, this is challenge mode, so I need to do this. We got to build the farm. Yeah, so if there's space on the farm, you can put a potion directly on the farm and it'll put it there for you. But if there is not space, then you can harvest a crop first and then put it in. So that's another little like nice quality of life thing. Probably not gonna help too many people, and they'll just be like, oh yeah, of course that's how it should work. And we're back. Okay, so this is done. Release tool should upload to Steam without asking. Yeah, I think this is pretty good now. So we have upload tools here. There's ask to upload to Steam, and then there's just upload to Steam. Upload to Steam is probably what we should just call from now on. In order for me to do this, I need to revert all these changes. I guess we're going to do that. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye, changes. Now we go to release tool. And instead of ask to upload to Steam, just upload. And I'll just say, note, close to launch, I realized that we only upload, well, why am I even writing this here? Yeah, we only upload to an alpha branch anyway, and no one has access to it. So it's nicer to just automatically upload to Steam. so that the release process requires less manual input. Could have also made an argument or something for it, like automatically upload, but yeah, I think it's fine. So now it's just uploading no matter what, but it asks about whether to upload to itch. Itch does not have some sort of like staging thing, as far as I know. So, but Steam does. Automatically upload to Steam when releasing. See the comment I added why I did this. Okay. On Mac builds, I realized that tooltips on the title screen flicker at the upper left. This happens on Steam Deck too. There's just a mountain of to-do items. I want to look at the GitHub issues today as well and see what is remaining that's very high priority. So if I just hover over this, that doesn't cause a problem. Let's try going back to the title screen maybe. And now hovering over this. No, it's still not a problem. What's going on? Let's try running the game again. Maybe it's because I hovered over the story mode button first. If I hover over settings directly, what happens? No, nothing is wrong there. This happened on my Mac. Maybe... No, it's not happening there either. What's happening right now? Strange. I didn't fix anything. Tooltips on the title screen flicker at the upper left. Oh, let's try running through Godot. I don't think that would have any impact on this. No, I don't see anything going wrong there. Huh. Huh. Okay, well, let's just close for now. Consider giving tips a theme like a sheet of paper. Just see if it looks good first. Yeah, let's take a look. So we have notification box. And right now this looks like this. What happens if we change this to be the paper, one of these two? I don't know which one. Not that one, apparently. No, apparently neither one of these. Because the themes edit something that's not a panel container. Edits a tab container. What uses this in the game? It's the insides of a tab container. Yeah, wait, there it is. Right there. What is that? It's just a node? So can I just set this to paper panel over here? Oh, neat. I think it looked a little bit weird with the bar in the middle. And now the text is white on white. So we need to change this to just some other color. I'm going to just make it red for now, just to see what it looks like in the game. So now if I go start a new game or continue or whatever, and then we get all the adventurers. Did I already have them all? I already had them all, so that didn't do anything. I guess we just need an error, like dragging this over here. Okay, so ignoring the red text, imagine that, I don't know why we need to ignore it. Let's just make it black. Okay, there. Did that not take effect? Do I need to save this? I think I might just need to restart. Yeah, I might need to restart. Well, anyway, ignoring the color, does it look better? You prefer the previous one? The white one is too bright. I think it just doesn't look good with the... Whoa. Okay, well, that's also something we'd have to change. But I think the shadow around the border looks out of place there. And I also think that... Actually, I kind of just think that. I don't think I'm going to go forward with this. But let me see what it looks like with more text inside of it. Feels like it needs to be a bit more beige. Look better without the 3D look. Yeah. Oh, whoops, what am I doing? I need to do that. So if we just let this run for a bit, we'll eventually get a persistent tip, and then it'll also change the size of that tip. Yeah, so like this. This is pretty out of place. Yeah, I'm going to go back with the old one, I think. I just want to see what happens when this gets bigger. Which, unfortunately, I was not timing this, and it takes 55 seconds. And oh, there we go. Okay, I was just curious about that. Yeah, let's not use this. Did I have something else, though? I guess it could be something like this over there, right? Just without the buttons. I'm kind of happy with just how they are, I think. But yeah, let's try changing this. Where's dialogue? Here it is, dialogue. Because this is flatter. So maybe it'll look fine. We need to change the bar color, of course. I think there are different colors of that too. It does look decent. And if I get some error over here by doing this, for example. Yeah, I think that does look better. Hey, Puella. And I don't know if I said hi, but hi, Crucials. Okay, so we need to change some colors if we did this. But yeah, let me take a picture of this. And let's take a picture. Let me close out of all these other things that I have. Close all. Okay, so that is one style. And then the old style gets stash. Actually, I don't even want to stash this, do I? I guess we just delete the style from here. Dialogue theme. Then reload this. Yeah. I broke it. It had a theme to begin with, I guess. Yeah, it had a theme to begin with. I didn't realize. And then the color was overridden. Okay, let's try that again. Yeah, that's what it looked like before. Yeah, I'm leaning toward this. Just want to take a picture of it. Let that go away. Yeah, there's something that, whatever that big text box that shows up is. I think it takes 10 real seconds to show up. Yeah, there it is. So if I click this a couple times, and then we take a picture. So yeah, here is style 1, and here is style 2. So yeah, what do we think? The one on the left? Just doesn't look as clickable to me, I guess. You vote for 2, the one on the right? Yeah, please. Yeah, right. The other thing left for crucials. The other thing I'm kind of wondering about is what, and I don't think this is a good idea, but what if we change this to be the dialogue theme? I mean, these being green now looks a little bit weird, and this text would have to change. Maybe it'd look better if we did both of these things at once. Where's that? There. I don't really think this is fitting up here. Yeah, I don't think you'd want this to be paper. I don't know what you'd want it to be. Black background there felt a little too debuggy. Oh yeah, I might as well take a couple pictures of this. Oh, those aren't going to be updated. Okay, fine. Then just ignore that. Let's just take a picture of this anyway.
Whoops.
Oh, did not mean to do that.
Whoops.
Don't even know what I did. Okay. Yeah, just a bit big. We'd also probably need to change the buildings menu here, which would also make this huge. Quick load in dialogue theme. Let me just, like I said, stop modulating the whole thing green. We have some like different style for when a button should be clicked, which I don't think we really have. No, I could probably do something different though. But this is very tall. I don't know. I don't know what's best. Guess I'll take a picture of this too. What am I doing? How do I not know how to use this? I don't think we can have two different styles. So this is one consistent style and this is another consistent style. This looks bad with the green buttons. Well, the green buttons make it less readable over here. Over here, I think it's kind of nice. But we could change that. We could just use a different button panel or something. I don't know. One of the main things you interact with to upgrade your stuff. I vote far right with fixed text and button colors. Yeah, I think of the four of these, this and this are the best ones. So we just label this. How do you draw? I don't know what I'm doing. Nah, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, yeah, if we just labeled it, then it is 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I like 2 and 4. And yeah, I'm a little torn. Hey, surgeon. Green on the background might look better. The thing I don't like, the tall buttons over here, like I don't want there just always being some vertical panel on the side that you can never close. And I guess in bone mode, that panel would be even bigger, right? We don't have it open now. Or wait, what? Oh, I just need to refresh this. So now it's probably going to be huge. Yeah. The tooltip dialogue is practically the same as this now. Not quite because there's that scroll at the bottom. Well, didn't I make some green shader somewhere? Shader. Highlight button. Do we use this anywhere? Battle panel tab and new challenge run screen. I think it fits better. Yeah. Yeah. I'm torn. I don't like the button height for sure. The colors are easy enough to change, so ignoring that this turns like a really bright color. But yeah, colors are pretty easy to change. This stuff, even instead of modulate, I guess we'd put, let's see, what do we have highlighted so far? Town perks, for example. I guess let's just go into here. New game. What's green by default? Higher adventure. Okay, let's just look at higher adventure. So that's there. And we give this a shader. Shader material. Highlight button. So this is what this could look like instead, which is obviously way better. Is there a parameter here for color? There isn't. That's seriously what it looks like. And then we do town menu light green, I think is what it is. Update adventurers button. It's not the adventurers though. This is a higher adventurer, right? Where's a higher adventurer? Here it is. I just turn that off. Important enough a window to warrant the real estate. Some people don't use that window though. Some people just do everything in the world directly. At which point I'm thinking I'd want it to be huge. But I mean, those are things that should be easy enough to fix. What happened? Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. I meant to click new game. Is that turning green at the borders? No. Why did it even look that way to me? It's that color, one of these. None of those are green though. What's going on? Is it because of the shadow? I just can't stop seeing that as green. These aren't green. What's causing that? Yeah, I don't know what's causing that. This color, if I copy it to the clipboard and we, I don't know, open it in here somehow. What do we have? Color? Yeah. So I paste this in. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look green. All right, well, yeah, it's also kind of a nicer way to highlight things that you have an action that you can take. Should we just spend the time making the colors look nice and then see if it feels better afterward? So if I were to do the work here, I'd have to make buttons a bit shorter. Make sure the available buildings menu spawns to the right of the town menu. Make sure this works for small screens. Update colors of everything. And stop modulating buttons green and instead use, what is that thing called? Highlight button. How does this look on the main map? When you can upgrade, I think that's, oh, it was green by default. So when we highlight it, it's still green, of course. Okay. I vote dark green background and stone gray buttons. Dark green background on this? I don't know about that. Is the white color on money text and the gray text in the tooltip a placeholder? Yeah, I don't know if you just tuned in now, but I literally just changed the themes of this and I haven't adjusted colors of anything. So the way this looked before was this, where like at least all the text is readable. And then, yeah, I'm just testing this out for now. So yeah, it's not done yet. All right, let me take a look at something. How do we even make buttons shorter? Because I don't know how you do that. I think we need to change the button theme. Yeah, so we probably have a type variation in here. So this is dialogue theme. We have a button. Yeah, I want to make a new one of these. How do we do that? Does this make a variation? No, that's not how that works. What does this do? Rename current type. I don't recall how you do this. We did it for panels somewhere. So if I look at dialog box and click over here, edit, panel container. Okay, I'm definitely missing something here. What? Yeah, what? Is it in here? Oh God, I don't know where this is. Theme override, constants, no. Somewhere we do this. Type variation, portrait. I don't know how to do this. I think paper UI looks nicer. Yeah, I want to at least try it out and see. I just don't remember how to do the thing I'm trying to do here. There's some way. We made like a slime panel, didn't we? Yeah, how do we do this? Tooltip theme. Tooltip theme. There they are. They're just nodes. Well, I don't remember this. Panel. Yeah, I don't remember this. All right, let's look this up. Variation. Use theme type variations. Yeah, how do you do this? Creating a type variation. To create a type variation, click the plus. Type in what you want to name your theme type variation, then click add type. Oh, I see. And then it looks like it's a node after that. Okay, I see. All right, so then what we need to do is go back to the town menu here and edit this and then add a new thing called like shorter button. And I want this to look like whatever button has in it. Is there a way to duplicate this? Not through here. So let's just save it and then try to duplicate it through code if we can. It didn't save. That's strange. Should have modified dialogue theme. Maybe it doesn't do anything until you actually override something. Like if I change this to be 2 and then save. There it is. Button constants aligned to large. This isn't right either. What am I doing? Shorter button. We need to override something in here. I don't think it knows it's a button. I'm obviously messing up everything here. What am I doing? Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to read this again. To create a type variation, click the plus, type in what you want to name it, then click add type. Below the type are the property tabs. Switch to the tab with a wrench and screwdriver. Oh, to set the base type. Okay. Got it. Yep, cool. Great. Easy. Okay. So now we want to take whatever we had for button here, which is like a million of these things. So let's just take the normal look, copy that into here, plus, and then paste. And I think I want this to be unique. Yeah. Make unique. So that now what I could do is change the margins. So let's put the higher adventure button with this new thing. Theme variation, shorter button. Okay, good. And then we change the shorter button somehow. Not like that. Content margins here, maybe? Aha. Yeah, so that's what we could do just to make them a tiny bit shorter. Hey, Ticket. It's going pretty well, I think. We're making progress. So I would go change every single one of these buttons to use the shorter one now. Or just make a new theme altogether. Oh, you can't change them all at once? Can you? Nice, you can. Is this supposed to be a side menu that's always there? Yeah, pretty much. Okay. So let's see what the height of that is compared to what we had. Do I have this running? I do have this running, but let's just close out of this. So I was taking a picture earlier with it just like this. So I guess let's take the same picture. How does it compare to the old size that we had? It's still going to be bigger. Oops. No, come on. God, there we go. Yeah, it's bigger by quite a lot. I want there to be less space between the buttons. I think. Because the buttons themselves are bigger. Alternatively, we can make the buttons even thinner. Yeah, by the way, there is a demo for this game if you want to check it out. It answers a lot of these questions. All right, I mean, we could try shrinking this some more. I could also decrease the amount of space between them. So like this is inside of a VBox container here. We could actually make the separation smaller. How's that look in the game? Honestly, that's not too bad. Yeah, that's not too bad. All right. I want these would all flash based on whether you have access to them. I mean, do I want to spend the time doing this? Do we like how this is going? So here what we need to do is set this only in a certain case. Highlight button.gd shader here. This is the shader on what exactly? The augment portal button. Augment portal button is over here. Do we ever change the shader property on this? We don't? Huh. Evil Rex. It's going pretty well. I must do this somewhere. Here it is. Set highlight shader enabled. Easy peasy. All right, so in the town menu, we have the hire adventurer button. And we used to change its modulate. Here it is. So now we do is what? Shader functions. Where is this? Canvas item extensions. Okay, sure. So I guess this. And set this to this. Town money is greater than or equal to cost. And do this for pretty much all of them. So we need them all to have... Actually, they could have the same shader so that they're in sync with one another. I think that'll work. I'm not actually positive. Let's just change it on the build one and find out. So if I just take the one from Hire Adventurer... No, then they'll all be enabled or they'll all be disabled. I think that's actually going to break this. They probably need their own. And the time might be synchronized anyway through some other means. I don't know what. I don't want them to be out of sync. I got to test that. All right, so highlight button. So now these two, the way we would test is we make it so that your next building has to cost more or your next adventurer has to cost more. So let's do the adventurer thing. Let's do adventurer costs. Let's just set all of them to be 1,000. There. Now the build button will be highlighted. Oh wait, no, it'll still be green because I forgot to change that. Okay, wait, whoops. Not a huge problem. So we want to go back to town menu, build button dot building perks is not that. There's a build button somewhere. Where is that? Buildings button, not build button. And then this has a modulate that gets set right there. And we instead change it to set highlight shader enabled. Can't afford any building. Perfect. Okay. Here goes nothing. So now the only two buttons that we have that could actually have turned green will now get highlighted correctly. And then I want to see how they are synchronized or not synchronized. And whether it stands out enough. So I don't have enough money to hire an adventurer. And the buildings button isn't even showing up anymore. So that means I must have broken something. Sure enough, there we go. Do we need to initialize these things? What am I doing wrong? Huh, let's find out. Yeah, what am I missing? Oh, did I put this on the wrong one? Building perks. Oh, yeah, I did. Ugh. It's buildings. That's why. There. Yeah, we have two different buttons because we have two different modes and they're surfaced slightly differently. This broke. Has enough money. Index was out of bounds. We don't do get within bounds. I just assumed we would have. Wow. All right, well, let's make this all 1,000. Huh. That's kind of funny. Why do we do that specifically? Where is that? We checked new adventure costs 1. To hire your second adventurer. Okay, I guess that makes sense. We could have done get within bounds. Oh well, doesn't really make a difference. All right, new game. So now we'll actually be able to see what this looks like. So buildings is highlighted. If I grant myself infinite money, yeah, they get highlighted at the same rate. It almost makes them look disabled at their normal state, which is how... Wait, maybe that's a problem with... No. It can't be a problem. This is an optical illusion, right? Yeah. It's an optical illusion. It's dark button on light background. So if I paste this here versus the same, maybe, I'm not sure, on a dark background. I think the backgrounds are exactly the same. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. Although now that I look at it, I see these are not using a nearest filter. Huh. Why is that? Why is that indeed? Texture filters inherit. Oh my goodness, this looks so much crisper. Let's change them all. Texture nearest. I barely see the difference. It's a little bit hard to spot unless you zoom in on the edges. Do you see how you can spot individual pixels here if you just look at the border? So if I change this to linear, you'll see the difference. Now it's very obviously fuzzy there. So yeah. Now when you're zoomed out, yes, it might not look as clear, but also it might have to do with me streaming this. So here's what happens. Because it's actually a trade-off. The text gets worse, but the button border gets better. So here on nearest, if you just look at the B, for example, do you see these hard edges around this? But if I change this to linear, now it looks perfect. So this is a trade-off. The button will look better, but the text will look worse. But whenever it's small, you won't actually see the difference. So like this is 100% zoom. If I change this, you probably can't see a single difference in the text, but you could see a difference in the button. So we gotta set this to nearest. So I changed the vertical separation on everything, and I probably shouldn't have done that. Need to isolate the buttons into their own container so that they have a smaller separation than the other elements. All right, anyway, going back to this for a second. So yeah, here's what this would look like. No, it's still highlighted in that case. I mean, I think that's okay. And then this menu needs to change too, of course. I think I'd care more about the text. You won't notice the text at that size. You would only notice it if it's huge. So for example, let's say we were to do this. This text is large enough that if we didn't use a linear filter, you would notice. It would look bad. But this text is never going to be large enough for you to ever see it. All right, anyway, let's start changing some of these things. So we're using, what is it, Aqua? Yeah, right there. Okay, so instead of aqua, we got to find a better color to change this to. I guess we just go to notification box and just find a color that makes this clear that you're hovering over it. Which is probably nothing's going to work. Yeah, because any color that we change this to is going to look bad. Unless maybe this is what it looked like originally. Maybe we do something like that. Let's copy this from, where's from HTML? Color.from HTML? There it is. Now let's try that. That's the new color. Sounds like you're sneezing. So now when you hover over one of these things, honestly, that looks kind of bad too, I think. Looks kind of amateurish. Wait, does it actually? Maybe it's fine. I don't know. Maybe we should. Looks good to me. Okay, well, let's not worry about that for now then. Let's worry about the other part of this, which is the text color on click to dismiss. Click to dismiss. Here it is. Color equals gray. Let's do saddle brown, which is what I usually do for this sort of thing. At which point we'd also probably parameterize that too, but let's just type that for now. Font color needs to change. That will also impact the way you see it now. Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, I think the font color inside that might be okay now. I'm not sure. I need to look at it again. Yes, that's fine. There's no click to dismiss there. I don't know about that gray bar either. I don't know about the bar at all. It doesn't make sense to be on paper, but I do want there to be some kind of timer. Is click to dismiss in bold? Why is that? I don't think it is in bold. Why does that look so much different from, let's say, this? Maybe it's just a font size thing. Yeah, I think it's just a font size thing. Yeah, okay. All right, but this is going to get bigger after a certain amount of time. Speed this up a little bit so we don't need to wait as long. And is that okay? I really should just like have a timer there or something. Come on. Do it. Do the thing. All right, fine. Well, let's start a battle really fast. It should happen any second now. I wonder if I broke something. Or it's just taking a really long time. Yeah, it's set to 55 seconds. I'm pretty sure it's been 55. And I sped up through like 8 of those seconds. Huh, something might be broken. Where does that happen? In notification box? Here it is. Create tween. Yeah. And yet I don't see the tweens happening. I wonder if it thinks the mouse is over this still? I can't think that though. Because then we wouldn't have, we'd still be highlighting it. What is going on here? Start emphasis wait time. Let's set this to 5 for now. And the decrease will be like 0.1. Oh my god, that's the second time I've run into this issue. That's the one dialogue in the entire game that does not expand like that. I have it hard-coded to not do it on that one. because that's the first tip that shows up and you're pretty much guaranteed to get past it. Where does that happen? Yeah, here it is. Stop attention grabbing animation. That happens on that one tip, the finished tutorial tip. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've fallen for that. Actually, I can. It's like 3. But hopefully that's the final time. All right, so that aqua has been changed. What else needs to change? That color, how much gold you have. Currency label is also what shows up in here in the battle map thing. There. Okay, so here it's inside of a red label. And if we build the farm, it's inside of a blue label. So white text looks pretty good there. White text obviously does not look good here. But I think we can just change it to that same default color that we have. And I think it would look fine. So yeah, I'm going to take a picture of this. And I'm going to modify it a little bit. We're just going to act like this white text is actually black. Where's the magic selection thing? I don't know. There's object selection. There's color replacement as well. Maybe that would work. System rasterize the layer you previously had selected because it was not a raster layer. Okay, great, but how do you use this? Whoa, what? Presumably it has to do with which colors I have selected, maybe? I don't know what this is doing. Yeah, I don't know what this is doing. How do you use this tool? Color replacement brush tool. Oh, let's look it up. What? Replacing the color pixels on the current layer with the foreground color selected on the color panel. I don't think this is what I want. I don't know what I'm doing though. Hey, ABC. Happy 100 streams. All right, man. I should really learn this tooling a little bit better. Because I think I know how to do this in GIMP. I wish I could open GIMP right now. Because I just want to mock this up super quickly. Well, I guess the quickest thing is to just edit it through the game at this point. All right, so here, I think we can just press U and select this. Not even selecting the white text that I have here. Huh. I don't understand that. I also don't know what happened. Okay, I'm just going to stop editing things. Because clearly I'm too bad at this. But I do want to send a picture of this to Quickie Joe and ask about this. How do we feel about using the new theme for the town menu and tips? I only quickly mocked this up. So I still need to change some colors and sizes. How large is the team working on this game? Give me 1 sec. Whoops. So actively working on it now is not many people, but here are the direct contributors that we had. So yeah, active work is still coming in from Kevin doing the translation. And that's about it at this point. Dark's been doing some investigations into performance stuff, but this is only as of late. So it's kind of mostly me at this point. But I can't say it was mostly me for the whole project. Those people on the credits did help. It's just now that we're close to launch, it's mostly me. All right, well, another ad's gonna start. I see some weird streaks in the image. Is that my screen or Twitch? I think the streaks you might be seeing are in the buttons. Those are actually just there in the buttons. those darker lines that you see. Okay, I'm going to take another break, and then we'll maybe stash this for now and come back to it a little bit later. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Yeah, for people who haven't seen this, by the way, you can type join in Twitch chat and then J and a number to jump. Try to make it to the top. I'll be back in a little bit. Hello again. Close the game. Close the game. Okay. Any response from that? No, not yet. Okay. So like I said, I think I'm going to stash this, or at least most of what I did here. This was just a test. I don't need this anymore. So what else do we do here? And that. Sure. Let's stash all that. Okay. So get status, PB copy. I want to stash those, but not this or what's an in-game menu? I don't care about that either. So those four for sure. No object pool, not floating text, not in-game menu, but yes, notification box, notifier, town rate. Yeah. Okay. So I want to stash all of these things. Get stash dash M. New town menu theme. Subcommand wasn't specified. Push can't be assumed. Okay. Now if I do git stash list, we should see that on there. Cool. And now we're back to normal. Now there's one unfortunate consequence of potentially doing this, which is I really would need to go modify all the Steam pictures and probably even the trailer, because look at that. It's everywhere. It looks very out of place. And do we have it in the videos at all? Oh, thank goodness, no. Okay, but yeah, we need to update all these pictures. It's not usually that hard to set up these pictures again. It's just a little annoying. Oh well. And then, yeah, take new Steam pictures to reflect the new menu. And that's if we do it. I stashed this under new town menu theme. Oh yeah, haptic feedback when for clicking. How hard is it to do this? Because I don't think it's probably worth doing. Godot haptics. If it's super simple, maybe we do it. Is there a way to implement this? Vibrate handheld. Vibrate the handheld device for the specified duration in milliseconds. Amplitude is the strength as a value between 0 and 1. If set to -1, default vibration strength. Method is implemented on Android, iOS, and web. It has no effect on other platforms. Okay, so this won't work. So how do we do this on the Steam Deck then? Godot Steam Deck haptics. GD extension driver. They mention haptics here. They don't even have full support here. All right, well, if some extension doesn't have it, probably I'm not going to get this for free. So let's just not do it. Yeah. All right, pick up marketing again. Yeah, that has to happen. But we'll put that up there. Outro work. When the skeleton holding the item, show the hands graphic. Consider thought bubbles for the anxiety scene. Improve legibility, maybe an outline or a shadow. I'm just going to delete this for now. Yeah. But show the hands graphic. How hard would that be to do? Outro antidote. So you go pick up the thing. And when you pick it up, you don't have hands? Yeah, probably. All right, let's go take a look at what's going on there. Start scene. So you go over here. Then you pick up the potion. And when that happens, we probably show the hands graphic. Okay. I mean, that's not too bad, right? Where is the potion? Held antidote. Here it is. So we just put a sprite on top of that. Sprite 2D. And add in the hands. Hey, look at that. Nice. Now we probably lower it a little bit, right? No, do we? How's it supposed to render? Hold on a second. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's give them a big potion. So let's go to the final location. Start battle. And I want the main guy to pick up a potion. It's got a 1/3 chance. Nice. Okay, now we take a picture of him moving downward, hopefully. I did not get him moving downward. Will he pick up another potion? No. Well, actually, I guess it's fine. We can just do this, right? Or just make it so I just grant antidotes. Yeah, that'd be easier. All instance data, small blue potion changes to antidote. Or large yellow potion, I guess. What's it called? Big yellow potion? I just want to see, is this what it's supposed to look like? Because I think so. It's a pretty minor polish. It should also be pretty quick to do. Again, we only care about the main worker. There. So speed that. Whoops. No, I don't care about that. I didn't mean to do that. But it doesn't hurt us. We just need to move downward. I guess the best way we could do that is by doing that. Got it. Okay. No. You stupid jerk. No. Okay. Everything just went not according to plan there. Let's try that again. There. Now they'll move downward. Just need a picture of it. Got it. So that's what they look like. So they carry the potion higher up. Whereas we are not doing that in here. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, huh. I guess we have a little bit more work to do than I thought. The held antidote changes its modulate? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, let's figure that out then. So position is what? -3? And maybe like plus, no, +1. Let's look at the picture again for reference. That's what it's supposed to look like. Wait, these are different hands. They have 2 sets of hands. No. I guess this would be a little bit harder to do then. It's probably not worth it. I don't think people are going to notice. Yeah, I'm just not going to do this. So much for that. All right. Delete. Okay, key binding improvements. If you remap the controller functions of a camera, it'll unbind the left stick forever. Try to map a key to something that's already bound. You get no warning. You get no feedback. Should we allow rebinding cursor click? All right, I'm going to save those for later. We need to handle the case where you can't rebind a key to a duplicate. Testing on Mac OS. Notice the virtual cursor move in really funky ways. Okay, I got to ask Codex about this stuff. Hey, East and West. Now he pointed it out. We're all going to notice it. I don't think people will probably care too much. So here's when this happens in the game, first of all. If we save and we quit because I had some changes there and we load, what happens is you beat the final boss in the game and then the potion vendor tells you, hey, it looks like someone just came into town wanting an antidote. Okay, yeah, here it is. You just found your first antidote. Coincidentally, I think I see someone in need. So now you click watch game intro or outro. And it's this right here. When he goes to pick up the potion, he won't have hands. And that's it. It's for that like 2 seconds. Anyway. So yeah, I'm not very concerned with that. And it's not worth spending the time to try to fix it. See if translated strings got truncated. Okay, we definitely have to do this. So let's go through our checklist. French, German, Italian, and Portuguese are all done. And then Spanish we still need to do. So let's start with French. I'm trying to think of where I need to start. Should I go in the tutorial? I don't think so. No, we probably should. Oh, fine. Okay. Town, skip tutorial. Good. Delete that. And change feature flag so we're not in the demo anymore. No, I'm just not skipping it. But it's not going to go into the right cutscene, right? So we get rid of... Let's just delete this. Okay. Now let's see what everything looks like in French. Then we'll try... I think German's going to be the toughest. Because they're probably the longest words. And I'm expecting to see issues here because I've just never done this before. So this already, like this menu got wider. I don't really think that's a problem, but this is coming from this. So if we wanted to, can you change the editor language? I wonder how you do that. Because you can probably, oh nice, you can. Where's French? All right, so now I go into game Settings menu. And then we restart the editor. Good thing I know where this is from muscle memory. No, this isn't working. How do we render this in French in the editor? I don't know how you do that. Godot editor render in different language. Maybe it is trying to render, but it's not pulling the strings correctly. Internationalizing games. I just want to test this out. Testing translations. Locale test. Okay, that's probably what I meant to do. So let's set the editor back to English. Save and restart. So internationalization, locale, change test. And that's where? Project settings? Yeah, project settings. What does this do? Oh, nice. Okay, so now we find French in here. Select. Now what do we do? Set it to the code of the language you want to test. Godot will run the project to that locale. I don't want to do that. I want to see it in the editor. Preview translation. Ah, from within the editor, go to view, then preview translation. View, there's no view. Where am I supposed to find that? Oh, here? Now there we go. Nice. Now I can stop doing whatever I just did. Hey Weasel, what bug we squashing today? We're gonna look through all the localizations and see which dialogues are too big or what gets truncated. So this, for example, what we could do is we could set word wrap on this. Maybe. I'm not actually even sure we can. Auto wrap mode smart. And then here too. Auto wrap mode smart. Okay, why is it still gigantic? What is making this large? Maybe this? I don't think it's this. This already has smart on it. What else is making it take up that space? The buttons at the bottom? Maybe? Yeah, it might be these. What if we make these go on to different rows? Does that change the size of the dialogue? It does. Yeah, so it is these buttons. And, I mean, we could arrange them a little bit differently. Oh, this is called VBox container, but it's actually an HBox container. Yeah, we could just change it to an HBox container. Or a VBox container, I mean. Change type VBox container. Yeah, but I don't actually think this is a problem. Who cares if this is a little bit bigger? The only thing I care about is that these should be the things to make it bigger. So I think that looks pretty good. So now let's turn off the, well, actually we can leave it on. So yeah, if I quit and we open this up again, some dialogues I don't really care about. Yeah, like this is good now. This one I don't really care about, but this looks fine. Except for that these aren't translated. And to be honest, I don't really know if I care all that much. Like, yeah, ideally they are, but it's not a big deal. The rest of these look fine. They fit on the screen. That's okay. So let's make a new game. Oh, we skipped the intro. I should probably test the intro, right? How do we do that? Skip intro, false. And we might as well just have sound on. Make it a little more enjoyable. All right, let's watch. What is Skeleteller like in French? My goodness, it's like the same game. I'm learning so much. The skeleton. Yeah, I mean, I guess we don't really need to test the intro too much. If dialogue boxes work in the game, oh, I got an achievement. If dialogue boxes work in the game, then I think they'll be fine here. Because that's the only thing that we even have text for, right? Other than the I need an antidote. All right, I'm not watching the rest of this. Okie dokie. All we're doing is trying to see, is anything going to stand out as being obviously wrong? So far, this is fine. Yep. Looks good. Looks good. Let's speed this up. Let's actually speed up the whole game. Yep. Cool. Great. Hey, Panini. Hi, who are you? My name's Adam. I don't usually have people come in and say, who are you? I'm not anyone you would have heard of before, if that's what you're asking. But yeah, I'm a game developer. All right, this is looking good. That's not so great. Yeah, maybe just this screen we should change. Do I know French? I mean, I studied French for a while. I wouldn't say I know French. But I did not do any of these translations. The wording might be funny since I'm not a native speaker. Okay, yeah. Well, welcome to the stream. Yeah, we do game development here. We're launching this game in about 3 weeks. So we're putting some finishing touches on it. And yeah, this I'm not super happy with. Let me write down some notes here. So Adventurer's Pain is maybe too large on the stats. I mentioned that you worked on your to-do list at a coffee shop. Do you usually bring your keyboard? No, I just use my laptop's QWERTY built-in keyboard, and it's generally fine. Any new text out to get it translated? Yep, exactly. Yeah. So this has already been translated. So we're just looking through to see if anything's weird, and everything looks pretty much fine there. Yeah, I don't see any issues there. All right, so now let's give ourselves a ton of money and a ton of everything, I guess. No, we should try hiring an adventurer. Yeah. Is this all fine? This is fine. That button's pretty large. Vanquished. Any RTL translations? No. So thankfully we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, dialogues are all fine. They expand as much as they need to, and I can't imagine any text being like 10 times the size of this. Even then it'd probably look okay. Yeah. I could never. I've been using custom Dvorak for almost 2 months now. Lost on my QWERTY. Yeah, that happens while you're learning it, but you will be able to go back to QWERTY at some point. All right, this all looks fine. There were specific things I wanted to test, and I think I wrote them down, but I don't know where I wrote them down. Let me go take a look at this. Truncate. Oh, maybe it's in my phone. Hang on a second. Who made the assets? There is the credits command that has the link to all of them. So it was a combination of some asset packs and Quickie Joe working on this stuff. Okay, give me a sec. I gotta look at this. When testing truncation, test the escape menu, buildings, and adventurer's pain. Yeah, buildings menu. I did not look at that. And yeah, this is huge. So this is quite a lot. Yeah. And then what else did I say? Yeah, what was the other thing? Adventure pain in bone mode. Okay. So I think all this is pretty much fine. What about the adventurers themselves? Unlock all adventurers. Yep. Those all look good. Okay. What happens if we max out an adventurer? That's fine. This button's pretty big, but that's okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, so now let's go to here, and then look through some of these things. Yeah, that's not the best. Oh, and it even changes the size of this. Or wait, no, that's not that changing the size of it. It's something else. No, it is that. All right, we got to figure out what to do for that. We could just change the font size. That might look weird. What about these? These all look fine. This looks fine. Yeah. All right, so let's start a match. Oh, that's huge. Okay, and then what about this? Surprisingly, not too bad. Yeah. Any other issues? No, that's fine. This can probably get pretty large, but then again, it can get pretty large in English too. So yeah, sometimes you have to scroll that. That's all fine. Yeah, I don't mind if these go on to different lines. What does it say? Infligez quand vous êtes touché. Yeah, so return damage. This is fine. And what do we have over here? Yeah, pretty good. Okay, I think in general then things are looking good. What happens when you win? Did we not have those already? Wait, I showed this in the VOD. Oh yeah, I'm at 12 out of 13. So the next time we win, we should get our final perk. Yeah. Okay. Yep, nice. Okay, so that's French. Now let's go take a look at German. Or whatever's next on the list. Yeah, German's next on the list. German. Wait, this menu's fine. Because we now word wrapped this. My goodness. Look how long these tooltips are. But yeah. Alright, so it's probably best to just look at the same things we did for French. Let's start with the Adventurer's Pain. I actually want to start with the intro, and I want to see what happens when you get poisoned. How does it look? Gift. There's got to be a joke in there somewhere. Would you look at that? Huh. I never knew. Okay, this stuff's looking fine. This is looking fine. This is looking fine. What about the adventures fight automatically for you? Nice. Can speed this up. Yeah, I think this is all fine too. Oh, I did not test what happens when you have auto battle on. We should go try that. Because there's going to be a bar that shows up. Man, those are some long words. Yeah, it fits. I didn't test it in French, but I assume it's fine. All right, let's get all the adventurers, and let's look at this. They all fit. Yes, 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 yes. Except for that's really tiny, but yeah. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. Whatever. Rest of this stuff looks pretty good. What happens when you get a skill point? Yeah, nice. Okay, so I actually think the German version of this is fine. What about this one? Yeah, Pretty much the same. What else did we take a picture of? This bone mode, yeah. Is this fine? Yeah, this is fine. I don't have a problem with that. What about credits and stuff? Okay, yeah, that's all good. Okay, what about this now? Oh, nice. This actually fits here. It didn't in French. Oh, that's not correct. But that's a me problem, right? Yeah, that's a me problem. I gotta fix that. Yeah, this looks fine. All right, so start a new game. Yep, same general thing, and looks good. Cool. Anything else in here? No? Okay. Yeah. So I'd say German's pretty much the same. Let's go look at Italian now. Italian is, wow, even shorter than English? Oh, no. And I changed that. Oh, that's not good. Okay, so we need a certain minimum size on this. The minimum size should probably be set to, or well, the minimum size on the whole dialogue, I guess. The minimum size should be set such that in English, the volume bars are decent. How do we change that thing that I set? View. That's right. Yeah. Good. So I want the whole dialogue get a little bit bigger. Minimum size. Just keep increasing this until we actually notice a change. Should happen soon. Ah, there we go. And it turns out we're modifying the wrong thing. Well, that was fun. So I want this thing. Yeah. Custom minimum size. Let's just set it to 300. Okay, so now we want to increase this until it's the size I expect it to be, which is like roughly there. Yeah. Good. Doing cardio. Nice. Hope you're having a good workout. All right, now we press the I don't speak German button by quitting. It was just saying save or cancel changes or whatever, but I don't remember which one was which. I don't want to deal with that. All right, there we go. So I'm going to assume this is correct in Italian, but it's not translated, or it doesn't look translated, so let's just double check. Story in Italian is... a different word. Pretzel. This might be fine. Mode is probably the same. I mean, what if we translate story mode specifically? Yeah, I don't know. I'll just trust IRAD on this. Oh wait, no. Now I don't trust IRAD anymore. Something must be wrong. Oh, I don't have the new Italian translation is probably what's wrong. Yeah. Okay. So IRAD did a good job. It's me who's screwing up. So I can't test Italian yet. Can't test yet since... Well, I guess I can't test German yet either then. And I don't want to do these just now. Well, that's okay, because probably we're going to run into the same problems everywhere. So I tested German. I tested French. Can't test this yet. Can't test until we import the new translations. Story mode should be different. I'm guessing. Let's go find out. Story mode. What should it be in Italian? It should be this. Yeah. Yeah. Bench a pretzel. That's pretty good. I like that. So if we want to fix these, we could just go back into French and try to fix them there. So let's go to the Adventurers panel tab. Man, I'm freezing right now. What is the temperature outside? Not that cold. Why am I so cold then? So skill points in French takes up too much space. Why didn't this work? Oh, because we set all this through code. All right, well, can we word wrap skill points? Where do skill points even show up? Underneath fortitude? Right there. Yeah, what happens if I word wrap this? And then we start this up in French. We use a different word for skill points. I guess continue game. Have you used LLMs? You just go for top languages? I used LLMs for the foundational translations, but then humans looked over every single translation. These are all maxed out. No, wait, we're not in French. What am I doing? Whoa, we're not even in Italian. French. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Let's try this again. Speed up through all of this. I just need to get to the point where I can actually do stuff in the game. There we go. Okay. This is not getting word wrapped because this button is huge. So we'd have to make it so that this button is not huge by doing this. Does that look weird now? I think it looks weird. Okay, you know, probably the best way to do this is to just see, would this work on a Steam Deck? So let's just shrink the screen until it's Steam Deck size. Oh, it doesn't tell you the size when you do this. Okay, well, I wrote a script for this. I can just use the script. Open config. Yeah, so shorts helper. Steam Deck is 1280 by 800, I think. So if I do that and then reload this. Actually, let's just make sure about that. Steam Deck resolution. 1280 by 800. Yeah, so now I just need to do this and then this. Is that not working? What goeth on? Console. I break something? Why is it not working? Command Control Alt Shift 8. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it fits. Okay. I guess something would get pushed if it didn't fit. So then I don't mind that. What about the buildings menu? This might look a little bit worse. Each one of these buttons. You know what? Maybe I don't care about this either. Really, what's the problem? Yeah, I think I'm just going to fix that one issue over here. So is this in English again? Yeah. And that is the start run or new run screen. Can we view this in French? We probably can't because, yeah, I didn't translate and I don't even have that showing up by default. Best time limit. Yeah, set via code. It won't work. Well, that's too bad. All right, so we need for the best time to be very long. Or the word for metal to be long. Or we just change the layout of this so it's not a problem. Where do we want to put that? I don't want it changing the UI size though as we change scenarios. Yeah, there's only so much we can do here. We could change the font size of best time. Font size is already overridden for some reason. Why? What is this? Normal font size is 24. I don't want to shrink all of this stuff though. I wonder if there's a way to say this in French that's just shorter. Probably not. You could show a picture of a medal instead of writing out gold medal, though. Also, this is 1 second. It's not really going to be 1 second. It could be like, 10 minutes, 42 seconds, in which case it's going to take an extra, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to do about this. I think we need to lay out the UI a little bit differently. Or change the font size on everything. No, it's lay out the UI differently. One way we could gain some space is we could put choose a scenario above this. Yes, this is currently in an HBox scenario. We just put this over here. That would work, but it just looks stupid now. Take care, Bezel. Have a good workout. On that same note, we could also put, well, choose a scenario is always there. This would definitely give enough space for French, though, if we try running this. Oh, we're already in French. Yeah, now it fits. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. Oh, I didn't even think to test this. Yeah. I gotta test that all the scenario names are fine in every other language, that they can fit in this space. Which, I mean, I guess is pretty easy to do. We just go to German now. And then we gotta reload. I really want to look through those GitHub issues. Is this even starting? Let me turn this off. Wait, getting started wasn't translated? What? German is getting started. That can't be right. Is there a German speaker who can just translate this right now for me in chat? Because these other ones are named like what you see here. They all fit. But getting started is probably not correct. Let me see what this translates it as. Getting started. Yeah, I have no idea if that's correct. All right, I'll just ping people on Discord about this. Let's write that down. Ping Germans on Discord about getting started. Here's the string. Okay. Oh, hey. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll give you a point and I'll just go fill that in myself then. It's like first step. Yeah, that's probably fine. I'll plug it in. Sounds fine. What you got on Google? Okay, yeah. What's the history of this? All right. Yeah, I think it was just a mistake. All right, so save and stay. And then I'll put a comment here saying this is what Google Translate proposed. And a couple of people in chat said it's fine. Okay, cool. So what was I doing before that though? Oh yeah, the new layout. All right, let's try it in English now. So I think that saved it. All right, got to reload. So I'm not testing truncation in English. I'm just testing, does this look weird now? Honestly, it looks a tiny bit weird with choose a scenario just kind of floating there. But hey, now you can have whatever time afterward in any language, and you should have more than enough space. Because this is fixed, so you have this much space for any language to render that. Did I properly test that? Man, sorry, this is tedious, but let's go open up cmruns.json. I want to see, where's the time? I don't know what any of these things mean anymore. All runs save data. Run save data. Okay, game version, time elapsed. TE is time elapsed. TE is 1.3. So let's set this to a really high number, 9134. Great. Now let's load up the game. I just wanted to render using as much space as possible. Why didn't that work? Why didn't that work? Oh, this keeps track of every run you've done? It's not just the best for your scenario? Hold your horses. What? Town perks or upgrade points spent. Yeah, I must track one of these for every run then. So that then to find your best time, we got to go look at this. This must have to be changed. I think, though, we can just go back to the title screen after that and it'll work. Aha, there we go. Perfect. Yeah. So this is like the longest this could possibly be. Yeah, sure. You could go up to like 999 hours or something, but I don't care. If people do that, fine. It'll go on to a new line. If someone wants to wait 1,000 hours to break the UI, let them do it. Okay, so what do we do here? Game settings menu got a new VBox container. I don't know why. Auto wrap mode, I mean, that stuff's fine. Why is this here? I didn't add a VBox container. Unless the root class had one. No, it didn't. What is this doing here? Is it just because I filled in the minimum size? But then I didn't add a node. Oh, this thing. Oh my God, this had the node. Okay, yeah, I understand. Hey, that's fine. And then what do we do over here? Just reorganize this a little bit. Yeah, cool. So fix some wide dialogues or truncation. These were mostly due to localization. Yeah. Okay. What else is on the list? So I got to do that stuff a little bit later. Did that work? Yeah. From YouTube, cool game, friend. One thing I got from watching this is that you're introducing new areas or interactable elements, like asking them to click on wooden signs. Might need an additional indicator, like a yellow exclamation point. I don't think we're going to do this at this point. Move our T-res files to the assets folder. This is just super unimportant. If you use a touch screen and you tap an item and tap the slime to try to sell, it doesn't sell. It just starts the dialogue. Okay, I have a touch screen now. Let's see if this is working. Time to try it. Oh, by the way, here's the splash screen issue. See how it's not centered? It's also truncated. All right, so I need to tap an item and tap the garbage line. Oh, this is working. All right, problem solved. Is it custom control? Yeah, it is. It's too bad it doesn't exist by default in Godot. It'd be nice to have them make something like that. We finally have all strings no longer marked as fuzzy. We should probably warn people that there may be hints of LLMs in there. And note that their locale may be set as startup. Yeah, I already did that part. I gotta ask my friend to test this again. So I'll write this somewhere. All right, what else do we have? Profile for performance. I tested on Chromebook and it was running hot. It should be better now. No big deal. Probably change abilities component to look this up. I'm not going to do this now. We did a bunch of profiling. Okay. New PR that adds custom maximum size to controls. Really? Can you link that PR? That sounds pretty good. All right, we're going to go to GitHub. And we're going to start looking through issues. So in this pass, I think we're going to be very, very liberal about dropping things. Yeah, what is this? Did I already add this to unused? Oops, that's not what I meant to click. Revive. No, I don't see it. Oh, this isn't even a Discord message. So this would be the animation we use for reviving. We don't have the crown one though. I think I'm gonna delete this. Yeah, this was never high pry. But also we have the zombie with a crown. I don't think it's worth changing animations in the game at this point. Add custom maximum size to control. This is nuts. This is 20 hours ago? How did you see this so quickly? Were you just coincidentally looking it up, or are you... Did I ask you this already? Are you involved in Godot? Huh. Okay, I'm going to write this down. Godot may naturally support custom maximum size on controls. This would allow, oh, I should put a link to this. This would allow us to, well, this could allow us to stop using our max size container. Just happen to see it. By the way, this is a really good thing for me to add to my list of stuff to do for the next game. Keep track of and updating Godot.md. It should say, it should have a link to an issue or PR. Describe the impact and describe any actions we have to take in the future. The impact and actions are really important because when updating, I don't want to spend time recalling anything. I just want past me to tell future current me what to do. What's your typing words per minute? I have kind of a joke for this here. But I don't generally measure it in a way that people actually care about. So yeah, if you want to see how fast I can type on a piano, there's a link to a video there. Actually, that entire project was pretty interesting. Yeah. Okay, so let's go fill that in. Update README about custom, what is it, maximum size? Is that what it's called? Yeah. Considering getting a split keyboard to improve your speed. I don't think it'll probably improve your speed, but I still think it's potentially worth getting. Plus, they're nice. I think it's more for ergonomics of if this weren't a split keyboard, these halves would be so close to each other that my shoulders would be inward a bit more. And really, ideally, I probably have them out like this, but then you can't see them in the keyboard camera. So this is kind of the max distance I can have them and still let everyone see them, which is, it's fine. I think it's fine. Okay, put the site into its own GitHub repo. This is something I've still wanted to do. It's just not important, and I don't know. I should probably do this at some point. What's this one about? Hovering over the books, probably want to show which spells are active and for how long, since the book itself doesn't show it. Yeah, I don't think people really realize it. Well, maybe they do, that you can hover over the crystal to see this information. Probably the book should tell you. And we already compute this tooltip, so it's not like it's extra work, really. But it doesn't make sense exactly that it's over... Oh, let's switch to English. That it's over each... Not even over each. That it's over the spell crystal. Oh, I gotta cut this stuff out. Town. None of this should be here. Man, I'm freezing. Hang on one second. Let me go turn the heat up. Okay. I don't know when that's going to kick on. Yeah, the vent hasn't started yet. I would like to not be so cold. Commands list website is full of interesting and funny things. Yeah, I like that I have that open for people. All right, so here's what we're talking about here. You can cast spells, and this is your mana crystal and shows what active spells you have. So if I click this, it's obvious that it's cast because the book changed, but it's not clear how much longer this has. And it's not unless you hover over this that you see, oh, there's 21 seconds remaining. So there are a couple different things we could do here. We could show how long each individual spell has remaining underneath this, maybe under the mana cost. But that would require another string to be translated, which I mean isn't too crazy. Hey, Maya. Alternatively, what we could do is we could put... Let me give myself enough mana. We could take the active spells bit from here. Oh, I apparently can't take a picture of that. We could take the active spells bit from here and put it underneath this one. So, oops. Oh, God. Doing a shoddy job at this. Let me try that again. Yeah, there. So something sort of like... Whoa, what am I doing? Oh my God. I'm so bad at this program. It should not be this hard. Yeah, so imagine if I... Well, I'm not going to chop this up any further. Imagine if just the active spells thing were beneath mana cost. Or maybe even in between or something. But I don't really like that on the book. I guess we'd only show it if this thing is active. I think I'm just going to leave this as is for now. It's not perfect, but whatever. And then this one. When activating autocast or when a spell that was autocast expires, consider immediately triggering autocast rather than waiting for a timer. Yeah, that one I might do. That's just a code change. And it shouldn't be that hard to do either, right? Autocast timer. Here it is. So on timeout, try to cast a spell. We go through everything here. We do this. This is some unnecessary work that's going on, by the way. We should make sure that we don't already have that spell cast. Try autocast spell. Can't we just check to see if this is inactive? Why do variables start with an underscore? That's a convention to mean that something is private. The heat kicked on, by the way. My hands are so cold. Oh. Get spellbook by ID and then just check if it's active. Oh, this could be written better. Oh man. Okay, well, let's write it without link. I'll just do this. Enchanter Den. What was that line? 209. There. Now we change that and that. Okay, good. We can make a dictionary for this, but it's O of n where n is 3. Oh no, it's actually 4. But yeah, it's not really a problem. So how do we check if the spellbook is active or not? We would do from try autocast. If it's autocast and not spellbook dot is active. And also, we could just check to see if you have enough mana, right? Why are we doing any of this? It should never fail. Oh, I've never tested that, did I? No, it's technically not possible for you to hit this. Interesting. Although we suppress the message anyway, but yeah, okay. So where do we check to see if you have enough mana? Right there. Yeah. So if you don't have enough mana, just don't do anything. Because this is just a constant check right here. So if mana is less than the spell cost, just return. Yeah, there's no way you can possibly cast a spell. This is going to save a lot of effort. Because what we used to do is once per second, we would check this. And then in here, we would make strings. So now we're going to cut that out. Yeah. All right, well, that's pretty cool. So that fixed one part of this, but that's not actually what I wanted to do. This is a performance thing that I just did. Improve performance of Enchanter Den, of auto casting. We no longer allocate. That did allocate, right? I don't care. I don't care. I think it did. Yeah, we had a function here. We no longer allocate when in get spell book by ID. And we no longer try auto casting if we don't have mana or the spell is already active. Okay. All right, but none of that was actually what I set out to do. Those are improvements. But what I really wanted to do is when the auto cast, when your spell runs out, that if it was auto cast, just auto cast it again. So where do we do that? On spell expired, right there. Spell just cast or expired. Hey, Katie. 22 days. 22 days. I'm feeling pretty good because I think the game's in good shape. I do want to add some fun stuff in that time if I can. And we have some graphics that I could use already, although I don't really know what I want to do with them yet. Like I was thinking, what if inside of a battle, there was like a goblin character that you could click and then they would enter your town and buy one item and then just go out of your town. So they'd basically be like a guaranteed purchase. This is probably not even worth clicking late in the game, but earlier in the game, it might be nice. Like things like that. Just a random thing for people to discover. Hey, Topher. All right, so how do we do this? I guess if spellbook.is active. So it's if it's not active. And how do we tell if it's the autocast one? Oh, hey, right like that. So the spell just expired, but was on autocast. Try to cast again immediately, yeah. And the mana cost is enough. Yeah, that should do it. Okay, let's go try that out. So we got to test two cases here. One, that you have autocast on, but not enough mana when the spell runs out. And two, when you have enough mana when the spell runs out. Nope. Click this. Okay, let's go unlock auto casting and save. So we have 600 mana. So let's click this and then this and then no, that's not gonna work. Okay, well, whatever. We got to speed this up because we need to get to 400 mana. And then it'll cast the green spell. Yep. And then when that runs out, it just shouldn't do anything. Yeah, nice. Okay, but if we had enough mana when it ran out, then it'll just cast it again with no delay. So wait for this to get to 5 seconds. Okay, so now this is going to run out. We should actually wait. Let's see if we can hear the... Okay, so it broke. It's glowing and workers are moving faster, but the book isn't open. What happened there? Is that as expensive as I think it is? I don't know. I don't really buy peas, but I think price per kilogram on things could be confusing sometimes when you consume a small amount. Like I'd expect a small bag of peas to be probably like $2. And yeah, peas don't weigh a whole lot, right? So maybe that does mean it'd be as expensive as what you're saying. Hey, Seshamara. Thanks for the raid. How you doing? Welcome in, Seshamara viewers. We're working on Skeleseller. We're 22 days away from release. And we are just kind of polishing things up. So what I was trying to do now is make it so that there's an auto casting crystal underneath spell books. I wanted to make it so that you automatically cast the spell as soon as it expires. But the problem with that is on spell expired. Here it is. The problem with that is that this changes the texture immediately on this. So we should do this beforehand, and then everything should just be fine. Yeah, let's try that. Maybe that's about right. Sorry to talk about these. No, it's fine. Yeah, how was the stream session, Mara? Not so good. It took me hours to align a label's text with a texture rectangle. Oh no. Align a label's text with a texture rect. I'm guessing you tried like D-box container and H-box container. Because I was just saying those are the main things I would do. But maybe you're doing something a little bit different. Or maybe there was, yeah. I'm curious what it ended up being. But I hope your day improves. All right, so let's try this again. So let's set this to be turbo speed. Yeah, there. So now when I click this, they should go very fast. Yep. I'm going to turn that on, and we're going to make sure we have enough mana, and we're going to do this with just enough time to see what happens. Good, and then turn on the sound. Okay, so they should just never stop moving fast. Perfect. Now there's one other thing we need to test here, which is maybe a little bit harder to do. So let's turn this... All right, how we do this? Instant loot, I guess, is the easiest one. So we click this button. And when this runs out, we should get 5 items. We can just keep this at turbo speed. Well, maybe we shouldn't. All right, 5 items should appear pretty soon. Nice. Okay, I think this is working. Yeah, so now there's no delay in auto casting spells. I guess the other thing we could test is that one. Let's turn this up. And give ourselves instant harvest. And get this and this. And a bunch of plants. Okay. Now, what do we have in terms of... So 16 seconds from now. Let's cap that out. Yeah, it should harvest everything in 9 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5... 3, no, stop. Stop pulling them out of the ground. These are for me. 2, 1, and... Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Love it. All right, cool. Yeah, that's a nice little change. Now there's one other thing, which is that when you turn on auto casting, it doesn't necessarily cast it immediately. We could try that. This is a corn keyword. And welcome in, Nanobite. Auto cast timer. Because we... Wait, how do we do that? How do we do that? Where are those crystals? Oh, spellbooks have them? Spellbook. Auto cast toggled. Here it is. Yep. I'm going to call that over there. That calls into here. That's this. If book is autocast, set it to false. Enabled autocast gets invoked. And then we should probably just immediately call try to autocast spell if it's now on. What does this do? Oh, just for the tip? Okay, that's fine. Okay, and there are the two changes I want to make. So now let's test this one. This is now, as soon as you click the button, it should immediately autocast if it can. So yeah, we should test this when you don't have enough mana and when you do have enough mana. So as soon as I click this, it worked. All right, we're going to load and do that again. Yep. It can take anywhere up to a second if I did not code this correctly, because there's a timer running once every second. So it's entirely possible you clicked it right before that second naturally happened and it looked like it was instantaneous. Well, it would be. Didn't look like it, but it would look like it would always be instantaneous. But now, yeah, this is way farther from pure coincidence. I must have just coded this correctly. So that's working. Now, what if we don't have the mana and we click this? Good. And then what happens when we get the mana? So as soon as it hits 400, it should go down to 0. Yep, nice. Great. I'm happy with that. Yeah. Polish some autocast interactions. Fixes this. All right, so note, I'm not going to do anything about the tooltips, but I'm about to check something in that will polish auto casting. And that's it, right? Note this too. Yeah. Enabling auto cast immediately tries using it. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, when an auto cast spell ends, it will immediately try casting again. So before this, you could wait up to a second, which meant there would be up to a second of you not having the spell active, which only mattered for Loot Magnet, because the way that Loot Magnet works is it says like X% chance to double items, which means if this disabled itself for even a second, you might win a battle in that time and then have a 0% chance because it's just not on. So that would have been maybe a little bit annoying. So this should result in more loot. If you're not really more loot, no. Because it's going to use mana faster. Wait, right? I don't know. I don't care. This is how I think players will expect it to work. And if it does change the balance of the game, it'll change it so slightly it won't even be noticeable. That one should pretty much be done. The battle map looks bad after changing the game scale. Launch the game with a game scale of 1. Open the battle map. Change the game scale to 2 or 3. Open it again. I think this is one of those bugs that just never got fixed. So let's kind of try the bug, but with starting with 2. Man, I can feel myself warming up. Now there's heat blasting at me. Why did that happen? What? Oh, because of that. I don't remember I still had that change. Hi, Schwartz. How goes it? Did I not start this up? I did not. I was waiting around for nothing. And hey, Appleseed. Happy Monday to you all. I'm feeling pretty good. I want to just kind of cruise through the to-do list, but I feel like we've only got difficult items now. Or like tedious ones or low benefit ones. So what did I just say I was going to test? Oh yeah, changing the game scale. So we open this. We go change the game scale. Let's put it up to 3. All right, you have to press this individually now. And then let's go open it again. So that looks fine. Let's set it to 1. Still looks fine. Now let's quit, re-enter, and try again. Working in the kitchen. What are you doing? Is it cleaning or cooking? I feel like those are the only two things you really do in the kitchen. Unless you mean like literally just you got a laptop and you're working from your kitchen. Open battle map, change scale, open battle map again. Okay, yeah. Does it go negative? The game scale? No, it wouldn't really make sense for it to go negative. Okay, yeah, here's the problem. So it's when going from 1 up to 2 and changing the window size. Oh, that was kind of weird. Try to cook stir fry. You say try, but you're probably not giving yourself enough credit. As long as it tastes good afterward, you're fine. All right, so this is an issue. How do we fix this? Do you make UI entirely from code or from the editor? Neither. It's a combination. I would say it's usually more through code than it is through the editor. Also, anything in the editor that you're going to parameterize, if you plan on localizing, you can't really just do through the editor. So for example, imagine you have something that says like power 5, something like that. So in English, it's the label, colon, and then the number. In other languages, it might be something different. You might have something in between. You might have something like plus X% chance to add Y damage or something. So if you put this in the editor, you would need to mark it as not translated to the point where it's kind of just a placeholder. So like some UI you set up in code and then you set up in the editor and then you change through code. But yeah, a lot of times I just set up like a skeleton in here. But I do use the editor for the harder UI stuff, like setting up containers and scroll panels and whatever else, themes. I think that'd be annoying to do through code. All right, so somewhere we set the content scale factor. Here it is. And then we never send out an update that this happened. No, we do not. So nothing knows to update when this happens. Maybe that's the problem. Wouldn't this happen at every single size? So if I set this to 1, return the title, go back into the game, press M, change it to even like 1.1, and then press M, what happens? It's too hard to tell, but I think it's probably not working the way it should. I don't know what's going on, actually. I truly cannot tell what's going on. Or maybe I need to restart the entire game when I do this. Let's try again without restarting the entire game. Just immediately jump this up to 2. Okay, yeah, there's the problem. So you don't need to restart the game. I'll edit this to say that. Although you can always go to the title screen again after setting it. Take care, Atomic. And thank you. Yeah, this issue doesn't happen often, and resizing the game window works. I think that's all we probably need to do. All right, I think if we go to battle map panel, battle panel tab. Do we have a window size change? We do. So what happens if I put a handler in here that calls window size changed? Does this just work? Because if so, then that's not too hard to solve. I just need to listen for if the content scale factor changes, which I doubt there's a signal for it, but we could just make our own thing. So we set this to 1. We start the game. We open the battle map, close it, change this to 2. And then press it again. And now I press page up. It's not doing anything. Is this being hit? Oh, so this won't fix it. What? Yeah, what? Oh, because it's probably not on the battle panel tab. It's probably on some max size container somewhere. Yeah, it's whatever's holding this, I think. What holds this? Panel tab container? Yeah, I think it's really that. Yeah, it is. Okay, fine. Let's move this then. Panel tab container there, unhandled input we don't have. That's fine. I'll go add it. We don't have a window size change. Oh, that's a shame. What controls this then? There's a max size container right there. This thing listens for window size change, doesn't it? It doesn't? Size changed. Oh, maybe that's our problem. I mean, I don't know for sure. I don't... We do. What do we do? Update margins? Maybe we need to do that? I'm going to try just calling that. Not even marking this as handled, so it works for all of them. Except for then I need to take it out of here, don't I? I don't know which one gets hit first. Let's just quit. I don't want to waste the time doing the repro if it's not going to work. All right. So we set this back to 1. Save, open, yep, blah, blah, blah. Then set it to 2. And then open. Now I press page up. So it fixed the max size container. This looks like trash. But that gets fixed when you change the size of the window. Yeah, so now this looks fine. Interesting. Okay, so max size container would need to detect that the window size changes and then probably call whatever that thing was. Update margins next frame. However, then the battle map will look like this. Do I still have a picture of it? No, I don't. Well, I gotta say this repro is kind of tedious, but at least it's quick enough. So this is what it looks like by default. We click this, save, and then we do that. So let's put this picture in the GitHub repo. And I assume that to fix that, we would need to, I think that to fixing this requires us to, it's called window size change in something, probably the battle panel tab, right? Because this calls it for the instance map. The sub viewport gets updated. So couldn't we just put this in here too? I think so. We don't mark this as handle, we just call window size change. I think the people who are going to hit this where it's problematic, they'll be in full screen where they can't just change the window size easily and would expect us to do this. So now I press page up. No, wait. No. Why didn't that? I have to do this afterward? Oh, God. So we need to wait for the first one to finish and then run this? Or no, maybe not. Maybe it's just because this is on next frame. What if we just didn't do it on next frame? What if we just did it now? Well, this would work because I am not doing it based on the event that actually causes this. I'm doing it based on pressing page up, which with my sucky human reaction time is not going to be 1 nanosecond after this should happen. Although even if it did, it'd be through the input loop. So let's try yet again. This time I expect it to look totally fine though. So we press M, then page up, and yeah, that looks great. So that's what we need to do. And this might not need to be the next frame. Then once the margins have been updated, we need to call battle panel tab dot window size change. This could be an issue somewhere else too, right? No, it's got to have a max size container in it. Max size container. Which we use in a bunch of different places. We just search TSCN files. We have 6 of them. So end battle screen. That one probably shouldn't matter too much. Although my walking a portal, panel tab container. Meta perks. New challenge run. That off the curve layer with 1 nanosecond reaction. No, human reaction time can probably never get that fast. You need to be like a cyborg. Because the average human reaction time is like 150 to 250 milliseconds, something like that. Reaction time. Yeah, somewhere in that range. Which is crazy compared to a nanosecond. It's a million X difference. What am I doing? I'm just writing down what this is. We also probably have to do this anywhere that we use a max size container. This wouldn't be an issue if this PR were in, possibly. Man. Force push 1 minute ago. Wow. Crazy. So I don't want to do this now. I don't know what we're going to do about this issue. I'm just going to write the comment here for now. But yeah. This is a little too tough for me for right now. It's just not worth the effort. Reason being that the number of people who change the game scale during the game while it's running, it's not super high probably. Like, I would expect someone to be on the title screen, and granted, not everyone's going to do this, but be like, wow, these buttons are really tiny. Is there an option for that? Oh, there is. Okay, let me change this. Okay, I'm done. And then that's it. The game will work fine for them. The people who don't do that, enter the game anyway, and then run into that issue, could just resize the window or could just like save, quit, reload. So there are lots of workarounds, and I think some of these a player would naturally discover on their own. But if they don't, then it will be pretty annoying for them. Oh well. All right, let's keep going. What else do we have here? I'll do another couple, but then I really want to eat some food. Tutorial nudges can show up in the wrong spots or with the wrong Z index. I think this is still an issue. As far as showing over the main menu, I'm not very concerned about that. This probably won't be a problem anymore, though. Compare this to the age of the universe. Mind blown. Yeah. All right. So we got to go into the tutorial for this. Town, skip tutorial. All right. Because these are just 2 arrows, right? Yeah, let's look at this, and then I'm probably going to go get some lunch. Pretty hungry. Pretty poorly optimized GC. That's true. All right, so there should be an arrow that shows up as soon as we hire an adventurer. So this apparently shows up on top of this. It does. I'm trying to think how important is it to fix this? It's probably easy enough to fix that we should just fix it. So you go into UI. There are nudges in here somewhere. There are not. Are they top of scene nodes? They must be top of scene nodes. In which case the Z index shouldn't matter. Nudge. Start battle nudge. What Z index do you have? A normal one. Wait, you all have normal ones? No, you don't. Z index of 10. What? Oh, that's start battle. There's another nudge. What is the other one? This one. Yeah, is this also 10? It is. Okay, well, let's set it to 0 and see what happens. Can I speed through this somehow? It'd be nice too. Guildmaster battle nudge. I don't want to keep trying this. What makes you enter this state? Enter waiting for first battle. Can we just put you into waiting for first battle? Name of waiting for first battle. Let's see if that works. Time to add an equipment system. You know it. You dark. Let's add experience points and equipment system. I think prestiging. So if I just click new game, we should see this show up immediately. I think as soon as we have the guild, actually. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now it should not show up on top of this anymore. It does not. Clicking buildings. Wait. Buildings wouldn't even show up, would they? Hold on, the battle map button isn't even showing up. What's going on here? Oh, because I didn't do this right. I'm cheating. I'm cheating severely. Maybe this was dumb then. All right, well, whatever. We fixed the Z index, right? Does it show up over anything? Whoa, what happened there? If I put this here, that shows up on top. I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine. Anything else weird? What if I shrink this down? And the other side too? And then do this? Yeah, that's fine too. Cool. Okay, so we can probably just do the exact same thing over here, right? Although I don't know if it's a problem there. Does it know when we open the map? We can't even open the map. All right, I got to rerun this. No buttons? Well, the battle map button should show up. That's what it's trying to point at. I just didn't have it there. Because if the battle map button weren't there, it wouldn't be pointing at anything. All right, so ignore that the buildings button is there. That's because I'm cheating. But yeah, okay, that looks good. Now what about this? Click start battle here. So I can't press escape on that screen. There's no way to open up the settings menu from here because pressing escape will close this menu. And if there were a button in the background, then clicking it would close this menu too. So yeah, I think this is fine. What happens if we shrink this some more? I don't know about that. Yeah, we could probably bump this one a little bit. Because it should show up on top of this. Start. Wait, no. I didn't even change this. What's going on then? Panel container set to 10 already. Is it because they're in different spots in the scene tree? Probably. Show battle nudge. Where do you appear? It's not called show battle nudge? Did I type it wrong? What? What am I missing? Oh, start battle nudge. Oh my god. I read that twice with the wrong word. All right, where do we add you? Add to the start button. Really? So we put you over here. Do we ever remove this? Yeah, we do. So it'll be here, which then can get overlapped by these things. Why is that the case? Should probably just be added to the... I don't really care about this, do I? I don't think so. G is relative. Set to 10. relative to that thing. I'm not totally sure what's going on here. I think z-index should be working. And we could move this, although at this point I'm really not too concerned. Yeah, so is there anything we can do about that? What if we just keep bumping this upward? It doesn't do anything. And what if we change something else in here? Like maybe this? This shouldn't matter either, right? No, it doesn't. Now what if we change this? No, that doesn't do anything either. Yeah, so I think it's just where it is in the scene. They always allocate because they're immutable. Unsub and unsub. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, is this worth fixing? Because if we want to fix this, we have to move this to a different node, which is going to make this annoying. And also, you're going to run into other issues if your game window is this small. So I'll just take a picture of this. And I'll just say this can still happen, but it's not really a big deal. I'm about to fix both of these, or, well, no, I'm about to fix the z-index on the send them into battle nudge. Is that? Yeah. The positioning, the off-screen positioning can no longer happen. And I'm not going to do anything about this since the game would be very hard to play in a window this thin. Cool. So comment and assign and go fix this. So if I close out of all of those. So this just didn't need a z-index that high. And that's it. That's our fix. Yeah, nice. Okay. Z-index of tutorial nudge fixes this. Oh, I wanted to comment on this that, and because fixing it would involve relocating the nudge, which I don't feel like doing. What translation can you still use or need? Just Spanish at this point. And Kevin said he'd get it done, I think, by Tuesday. Tomorrow. Yeah, we're at 81% on Spanish. And it's probably easier to just have him finish this up, assuming he's okay doing it, because he's got all the context of the whole game. Are we keeping max level 20? I assume we don't add harder bosses to require skill upgrades. Yeah, we're keeping the max level at 20. In bone mode, there is no max level, so you can always go crazy there. How happy are you with GitHub for project management or issues? For issues, I think it's good. For project management, I think for a small team, using GitHub projects wasn't super helpful, at least, which is why we kind of stopped using it for a while. And thanks to Hulk, yeah. There are a lot of people who offer Dutch, but from everything I understand, it just doesn't sound like Dutch people play games outside of English all that often. So it's probably not worth prioritizing. Like, I don't think we're locked out of the Dutch market is what I'm trying to say. I think that if you take the number of Dutch gamers who won't play a game that's in English, it's probably a small percent. Out of curiosity, what's the population of the Netherlands? Did I already look this up before? It's 18 million. And Dutch-speaking population worldwide. I'm guessing it's not too much more than that. Yeah. I was going to say, it's not like there are, tons and tons of Dutch-speaking countries. Feel free to not message me. Gotcha, I will not message you. So we're good with that. So when we come back from lunch, there's this where I left off. So post lunch where I left off. This issue. I would like to copy a link to you, please. I can actually message you. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do it. What'll be the price? It's going to be $15, and at launch there'll be a 15% discount for a week, I think. And there is regional pricing. So I assume you're in the Netherlands. I can tell you what the price will be. Where is... I mean, I don't think there's Netherlands specific pricing. I think it's just like European pricing. But let me see what it is. Yeah, it's going to be this in euros. And whoops. And right. Yeah, I think that's pretty much just it. So yeah, this in euros, and then the 15% discount as well. So you're only really paying this much at launch. We cannot buy loot boxes or any kind in game. Yeah, I know about that. Yeah, it's just a one-time purchase kind of game. So I think this is what you'd have to pay at launch. Out of curiosity, does that sound reasonable from what you've seen of Skeleseller? Because I don't know how this feels in euros. So like presumably, well, hopefully it's a fair price. Depends on what? I guess how much fun you have, maybe. How many do you give to Steam from this? How many do I give to Steam? So just so you know, that's not controllable by me. Everyone has the same terms, which is 30% goes to Steam until you hit like $1 million per year or something. I don't know. Anyway, ignore this part. Everyone starts out the same way, which is 30% goes to Steam. But that doesn't matter. That's not what you pay. All I'm asking is, as a consumer, are you okay with whatever that number was, with like 12.79 euros for what you've seen of Skeleseller? Because I can't stop Steam from getting 3.7 or whatever of that. The Fresnel. Like, I spent 1 ruble in my lifetime, so that makes me a Russian ruble user. Anyway, I hope it's a fair price. I've done what I can to put as much work as I can into this. So what did we do this morning? What did I spend a bunch of time on? Just looking through the list, getting stuff done. What were those things? Whoops. Okay, yeah. Worked on the backlog, spent some time seeing what a new theme for the town menu would look like. Will they pay around 15? Okay, yeah. Is this your first Steam launch? No, the first one is Botland, which doesn't exist on, well, actually, maybe it exists on Steam. Botland, Steam. Okay, it does exist on Steam still, I guess. But I don't think, can you go to this page in incognito? Oh, you can. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's got mixed reviews for a couple of reasons. One, I don't think the game was great, so I'm not trying to make excuses for that. And two is it was a web game that was wrapped in an Electron wrapper and needed the servers to be online, and there were issues with pretty much every part of that flow. So some people left some issues just saying like the game wouldn't even load for them. Where is that? Insanely difficult. Oh man, it's gonna make me feel bad. Game doesn't work, just says bots are busy assembling the game. Yeah, so that could have happened for any number of reasons back then. Anyway, I do kind of wonder if I knew what I knew now. Wow, this video is at a perfect 60 FPS, huh? Man, it's pretty nice. If I knew what I knew now, what would I end up doing to make Botland a success? So that wasn't 60 FPS. I don't know if you saw that. That was choppy. Yeah, this looks really smooth. Wow, look at this video editing. And it's been a long time since I've just watched the trailer of this game. And yeah, it was also a phone game. This is just a nightmare to make in terms of scope. I think it was yeah, multi-platform, web as well, mobile, web, mobile, desktop, which was a gigantic pain. It was multiplayer. And the reason why I show it on a phone at the end here in the trailer. Where is that? The reason why this makes it a pain is now you need touch controls to work and you need small screens to work. So yeah, just it's tedious. Guitar remake, let's go. Hey, Mercenary. I was around when you were streaming the development of that with the ability to change the lights behind you. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was a good time. I learned a lot. I'm happy I did it. I'm kind of a little bit unhappy I spent 5 years on it. I feel like I could have moved on sooner. But for my next game, I am trying to do a combination of what I find fun, what I think players will like, what I think I'm good at, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So like I'm trying to use everything I learned in kind of a meta level on this. I gotta go get food. So I'll be back in about an hour. It is 12:15. Yeah, I'll try to be back around 1:15. And we'll just keep working through the to-do list and issues and everything else. And yeah, it's a lot to do. Any ideas yet? Yes, but I have not really fully shared, but I will at some point, probably months from now. All right, well, take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you again in about an hour. If not, have a good rest of your day. Bye.